Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's going on? Welcome back to another live stream. Pigskin Addicts back again with another video. So, today we are going to get into some of the film breakdown from the Titans and the Chargers game from this past Sunday. Um, Before we get started, there was a lot of okay stuff, right? There's a lot of good and bad, but what I want to do, I want to go over some of the notable plays that I've seen, and let's start the breakdown. Let's get it going, and let's waste no more time. What's up, Matt? How you doing? Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining. Let me make sure that everything is good here. Can you hear me? Is my audio and my video okay? That's what the first thing I want to get out the way before we begin anything. I want to make sure that my audio is good. If my audio is good, let me know in the comments. Um, if not, speak now or forever hold your peace. All right, all right, all right. So, what I wanted to do now, yeah, it looks good. Okay, cool, cool. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen here, and we are gonna go over some of some of the plays, some of the notable plays that I went over. I'm gonna be going through offense and defense, and yeah, let's get started. So the first play that I want to cover here is I think it's a defensive play. And yeah, here it is. So this was obviously early in the first quarter. Um Chargers defense looks a lot better. Let me start off by saying that the defense looks a lot better. I don't mean to pause it right here, but defensively, this looks a lot better. This can work. This can work defensively. I've noticed a lot of subtle adjustments too on the defensive line. Breeden Fehoko is playing either a zero or a one technique most of the time. He's going head up on center, and he's blowing things up before they start. That has been the most impressive thing for me. Like, that's honestly where it starts at. Third down, and so some of the third and longs or whatever, pretty much the same thing, right? Zone coverage, keeping everything in front of you. But first and second down, I've noticed a vast improvement. It looks different. The film looks different from earlier in the season. So I think the Chargers are on a good path defensively. I think they're fixing some things up, and this can work. The defense that's been going on the past couple of weeks, it can work. So I just wanted to say that before we get started. So we're going to this first play here. Tannehill stops, and this is where he gets tackled. This is where he re-injures, re-aggravates his that ankle injury. But I wanted to go back here and restart the play. This right here is the carryover from the Dolphin game, and you can see here this also works too, right? Remember what I was talking about: bad quarterbacks, not necessarily bad quarterbacks, but quarterbacks that don't have great arms, quarterbacks that are not Herbert, quarterbacks that are not Burrow, Mahomes, all of these guys, right? Basically, the rest of the NFL except for the elite. This is how you should defend it right here. Excuse me, because when you look at this, look at Drew Tranquil. Look at how deep his drop is, right? His drop is super, super deep. So anybody again who's not named Herbert, Allen, Mahomes, Burrow, they can't make this throw here. They can't make this throw to this guy. This is going to be short, and it's going to be interception, or it's going to be too long and it's going to be an interception. This is how this should be defended here. So when you're looking at the Chargers matching up against the Colts on Monday night, right? I expect to see a lot of this too, because Nick Foles is comparable to Ryan Tannehill, and I think Nick Foles is better. He's had the better career, but as far as arm strength and just the talent perspective from the quarterback, they're similar. So I think this is the one way to do it right here on third down. Right, you got everybody here. This is the sticks right here. This is where they got to make it to for the first down, and all of this is covered. So if Tannehill, if he takes a shot here, even if he takes a shot here, look at Sante Samuel. He's in the backfield. His eyes are in the backfield. He can read that. He can make a jump on that pass, right? And if he does throw it long, Nasir Adderley's back here. This is the way to play it. This is simplified defense right here. This can work. This can work the rest of the way. This can work against the Colts. This can work against Baker Mayfield, and obviously this can work against Denver. Even if Russell Wilson plays with the backup, this can work the rest of the season. This is good stuff right here. So I liked what I seen from the defense up front. This is the way to play it, though. This is the way to play a quarterback on third down, especially if you're not going to blitz him. Make him make a throw outside of the numbers because Tannehill's not comfortable outside of the numbers. That's the one thing you can see from tape, not just against us, but last week. He's not comfortable outside the numbers. He's inaccurate outside the numbers. His accuracy drops like 20 points or something like that outside of the numbers. So if he's in here inside the numbers, right, he's okay. But as soon as he goes outside of here, he's not that good. So this is the way to play. This is the way to play. This is the way to play the quarterback. Let's see. Screen. Oh, I'm not sharing the screen. My fault. My fault, guys. My fault. Uh give me one second here. Sorry about that. And I'm pretty sure that I'm sharing it now. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so as I was saying, Ryan Tannehill, right? Not a great quarterback, not great outside of the numbers. Basically, a glorified game manager. This is how you play him, right? So as I was pointing out, if you guys, well, if my screen didn't show at all, I'm talking about the deep drops here by the linebackers, right? Well, in particular, Drew Tranquil. He's a much better cover linebacker than Kenneth Murray is. Kenneth Murray is one on one outside here. I think he's better in that position than he is in the middle of the field. Tranquil is right here. He's playing this pretty much like a safety. And if you have a quarterback like Ryan Tannehill, this is what you want to make him do. You want to make him throw past this guy and in front of this guy. And that's something that he has not been able to do his entire career, right? So as I was saying, this is going to work against Nick Foles and the Colts. This will work against Baker Mayfield and the Rams, and this will work against whoever is playing quarterback for the Broncos in the last game of the season. This works right here. This is good stuff defensively. This is very simplified stuff. Remember, I was talking about the Derwin James thing too. You see where the safeties are. You see Adderley's back deep. You see Gilman is back deep as well too. So this is the way to do it. This is very simple defense. This is really taking a quarterback's weakness and throwing it in his face, right? We know Tannehill's not great outside of the numbers, so we're telling him the only way you can make a play here is pretty much outside of the numbers. You get this guy's covered. He's covered. He's done. So you got to go here, make a great throw, or here, make a great throw. Again, which is something that he hasn't done most of his career. So if you're just looking at this from a defensive standpoint, this is good, simple defense. This is going to work against teams that are not great, right? This is going to work against teams that are not great. Now, when Derwin James comes back, if and when the Chargers do make the playoffs, they're going to have to tweak some things, right? Maybe throw some of the other quarterbacks off balance in the playoffs. But these next 3 games to get into the playoffs, this is going to work. This is going to work. I like this. I like what the Chargers are doing here. So that's something that I wanted to point out. I think defensively, they have been much, much better, much better. These past 2 games. I expect more of that as well too. I really expect more of that. Let's see, screen share. Okay, I got it. Yeah, so Tannehill was always pretty mid. Yeah, Tannehill's not a great play. He's a glorified game manager, and that's how you want to make him play. Again, you want to throw the weakness in his face. If you're able to throw his weakness in his face, he's not able to do anything. And again, he can't really throw outside of the numbers. He's not great there. He's not accurate there, and that's what the Chargers did. At least in the first half or whatever. But they did a pretty good job, like all things considered, throughout the game. So again, I want to see this moving forward. Now I want to move on to a little bit of the offense. Let's see, we're gonna go to the 3:30 mark here. Um, Offensively, this was not Joe Lombardi's finest hour by any stretch. This was a very curious offensive game plan for the Chargers. I really don't know what was going on. There was no flow. And honestly, I said it in one of the comments the other day. Seems like Joe Lombardi is playing human Madden, right? He's playing human Madden because there really is no flow. There's no philosophy to any of the play calling. It's just random plays being called, and none of it makes any sense. But here's a play here, right, that works. this worked last week against the Dolphins as well too. Moving the pocket with Herbert, they did not do enough of that. They did pretty much almost none of it, right? With the exception of a few plays, and those were plays that looked like Herbert was moving out of the pocket himself. They have to roll. The Chargers have to roll the pocket. If they roll the pocket 50% of the time, they're going to be able to get first downs. They're going to be able to get touchdowns, especially in the red zone. If they move the pocket in the red zone, let Herbert throw on the run. They're going to be able to do so much offensively, especially on second, third, and long. Move the pocket. So here is a play where they move the pocket. Herbert rolls outside the pocket. It's a perfect throw. So let's check it out. So this is the jumbo formation. He gets outside of the pocket. It's a perfect throw downfield. Perfect throw downfield to Parham. Right? Perfect. This is what you want to do. And again, I talked about it last week. I was hoping the Chargers came out in more jumbo formations. They did not. They didn't do a whole lot of that. They did run the ball decently against the Titans, but I expected to see more of this jumbo formation, right? You get a tight end, you get your fullback. Why not? It worked against the Dolphins. Why not bring more of that out? This is this is simplifying the game, right? Simplifying football, simplifying it. Go out there, do what works. Do what works. The Chargers have been good out of the jumbo formation pretty much all season long. They just don't do a lot of it. They can play power football if they want to, but again, Lombardi, his helter skelter play calling, it's not great. Like it just doesn't make for a good flow. But you see Herbert here, he's excellent outside of the pocket. He doesn't get hit as well, too. You move him, he's upright. His jersey's not dirty. He's upright. Do more of that. If the Chargers do more of that, they will be fine. They will be fine. But Lombardi doesn't do it. Did a lot of it against the Dolphins. Did almost none of it against the Titans. So when you're looking at the play calling and you're looking at the inconsistencies, look no further. Again, like I said, the guy in the booth, and I'm not just taking shots at Lombardi just to take shots at him, but these are the things you can see on tape. When you see plays like that, you're able to say, okay, this works, right? This is a jumbo formation. This works. The defense is not going to come out in dime when you're in the jumbo formation. If you get a stupid defense that does that, hand the ball off. Hand the ball off. It's an easy 6 to 7 yards, right? They're going to be in their big formations to match your jumbo formations, especially against a team like the Titans. I spoke about it all week long. Their linebackers could not cover. They're not great in coverage. We're one of the worst secondaries in the league. And if you were to go to this, Herbert would obviously exploit it. And you see the play here. You see how easy it was, but the Chargers didn't stay with that. They went all over the place, and things got messy, and that's why they only scored 17 points on offense. But this is the Joe Lombardi experience, as I like to call it. It's all over the place, and there's nothing that really matches. But it is what it is. So the next play I'm going to hear is the offensive line, right? So we've known that the offensive line has struggled. There have been some big time struggles up front. Matt Filer is really, really, really struggling. John Johnson gets a lot of attention anytime he makes a mistake or whatever. Nobody really talks about Matt Filer. I don't think he's having that great of a season. Honestly, I think the way that he's playing, his performance is really it's going to make it a tough decision in the offseason to bring him back. The way that he has been playing, he is just inconsistent, right? He hasn't been awful. He hasn't been terrible, but he's been extremely, extremely inconsistent on the offensive line. And I think, I don't know, man. It's a little, considering how he played last year. He wasn't all that great last year, but he wasn't this inconsistent. And I think that's where the issue is. So when you look right here, he's lining up against Jeffrey Simmons. So Jeffrey Simmons is one of the best interior defensive linemen in the league. We get it. We understand that. We know that. But you have to have a better effort here. You cannot be this bad against a guy who is good, right? You have to come out. You have to be better. You can't get beat that fast. And, again, he's just been inconsistent. So I'm going to run the play, and we'll take a look at it. So you see here, it's just bad. Like, to me, it looks like it's a little bit of effort, maybe some technique stuff. But to me, it looks like it's a lot of effort because he just beats him with his hands. You shouldn't be able to get beat with your hands like that if you are an interior offensive lineman, right? You have more area to work with, right? You see, look at where he's at. Look at what Jeffrey Simmons is doing. He's not doing anything great. That's not a great pass rush move. Any you know top flight elite guard in the NFL can deal with that move, right? They can deal with that move. They can get hands on him and they can do something to stop him, right? Impede his progress to your quarterback. This is bad stuff. This is just bad stuff by Matt Filer. I don't think that this is indicative of his full body of work, but this season has been a struggle, a big struggle for him. So I don't like what I'm seeing from him a lot on tape. It just seems like he is not locked in. It seems like he's not as engaged because when you look at this here, Jeffrey Simmons uses his left hand to get to the quarterback. That's just not great, right? He puts his hands up and he kind of moves him aside, gives him the old Ole, just moves him aside, and he's right there on your quarterback. Like you have to be better. You have to be better, and this happens. This happens consistently to Matt Filer in the run game, in the pass game. He is the weakest link, right? You look at everybody else. Look at all the other linemen. All the other linemen are doing their job, right? Let me go ahead and freeze it when we get here. Matt Filer gives up the sack. Everybody else blocked here, engaged here, right? Zion is helping here. Sawyer's going to engage this guy here. He's the only guy that blows his play up, right? And I get it. I know that he is a good player, but you got to be better than that. You have to put out a better effort. Like this should not have been a sack. This should not have been a sack. Whether or not the Chargers actually completed a pass or whatever, doesn't matter. This should not have been a sack. This play should not have been blown up so easy because everybody else was doing their job. Everybody else was engaged. Everybody else is good here. You see everybody else engaged, and Simmons is the only free runner. So I want to see more from Matt Filer. I think he needs to really pick up his play, especially if the Chargers are going to go into the playoffs. If they are going to make noise in the playoffs, you can't have that because you're going to be facing elite defensive lines in the playoffs. There is no weak offensive or weak defensive lines or struggling defensive line. You're going to face the elite of the elite in the playoffs if the Chargers get there. So we need a lot more out of Matt Filer. I think he's struggling. I've been seeing a lot of that, and hopefully he's able to get that right. Hopefully he's able to get it corrected because that is one of the plays that can get your quarterback hurt. The way that Simmons took Herbert down too. That was bad. That was a bad. That could have been a concussion. I've seen quarterbacks get concussed doing that. So I think we need to see more from Matt Filer. To have more confidence. He just has not been good. He hasn't been good this year, and he needs to pick his play up. There's still time, but he needs to pick his play up. He really does. Somebody said Failure is done. Yes, give Sawyer his spot next year, and that's probably what's going to be the natural thing when Slater comes back. It looks like Sawyer probably will move to that position. Sawyer has been pretty good at left tackle. He's played a replacement level left tackle. He's been pretty good, right? So I think you can move him inside, and I think he'll have success. And it's cost effective for the Chargers as well, too. I think Filer is due like $6 or $7 million next year, so it's cost effective. I think that's a move that's just naturally going to be made. But Filer is making this very easy. He's making it a easier decision. When you see this and you put that on tape, it's just hasn't been great. It really hasn't been great. So I did want to get to some of the positive stuff though. Donald Parham, I think his presence being back is going to help the run game a lot, and I think it's going to help with him blocking. He is a very underrated blocker, and that's something that I missed on him. Like I didn't really think that he was all that great in blocking, but when you look at the tape doesn't lie, right? Tape doesn't lie. You're able to see how good of a blocker he is, and on this touchdown run, the Josh Kelly touchdown run in the first half, you'll see that here. So he's lined up here. The Chargers are in a jumbo package here. So you got two tight ends and you have a running back. Now, when you look at the block here, you got to give Pipkins credit here too. These guys did a really good job. Pipkins and Zion Johnson, they did a really good job here. So when you see stuff like this and you see the Chargers not running the ball and you see all of the struggles that the Chargers have running the ball, You see the pedestrian numbers. I don't know why. I honestly don't know why. And this is why I say this is not a function of the offensive line being good or whatever. You can block, right? You can run block. Even bad offensive linemen can run block. You don't need to be a great offense. You don't need to be a great overall offensive lineman to run block. You just don't. You don't really need that. And you can look no further than the Raiders, right? The Raiders have a pretty below average offensive line. They're decent at left tackle, but that's about it, right? They have questions everywhere else except for left tackle. They run the ball extremely, extremely well. Josh Jacobs is a good running back, but they create holes for him, and they do it because they run block, right? You don't necessarily need to have all that much skill to run block. You just have to be a big, mean guy, pretty much. Big, mean, get pissed off and move people out of the way. Like it doesn't really require all that. And I'm not saying it doesn't require any technique, but if you're a big, mean dude, you can move people out the way. And there's 100 different ways to do it. It doesn't matter which way you do it as long as you don't commit a penalty, right? You can move people out of the way. You can push them. You can engage them. You can take them to the ground. You can just get in their way. Whatever. There's different ways to do it, right? As opposed to pass blocking. Pass blocking is more of an art. If you're able to do it, it's more of an art because you are in a reactionary position, and if you're able to leverage your strength, leverage your technique, and all of that stuff, and you're able to be successful at it, it's much, much harder to do that than it is to run block. So I think the Chargers can run the ball. I just think that they're not interested in it. And I think it's Joe Lombardi not interested in running the ball. Brandon Staley has let him get away with that. And I don't think that is something that is conducive to winning for the Chargers, especially in the playoffs. You're going to have to run the ball in the playoffs. You're going to have to stop it and you have to run it. And if you can't do either well, then you're probably not going to have that much success. But when you see plays like this, the Chargers can run the ball. The Titans were number 5, I think, in the league at stopping the run. They're pretty good against the run game. But when you look at a play like this, you're like, why don't the Chargers do more of this, right? So you look at Donald Parham here. Donald Parham's right here. You have Gerald Everett right here, Pipkins, and then you got Zion Johnson. Look at these 3 guys. Look at them engaged. Look at that hole. Look at that hole right there. Double team right here, and then you have Donald Parham right here up on a defensive end. He's holding his ground. This is good blocking. Very, very good blocking. Josh Kelly gets in the end zone untouched. Look at that. Look at that. All these guys are finishing their blocks. All of them. All of them are finishing their blocks. You can run the ball. The Chargers just don't want to. Don't get it twisted. They don't want to. They don't want to. And this is ultimately the fault of Brandon Staley, right? He does not make Joe Lombardi call more run plays. This is something that you have to demand as a head coach. Demand that the Chargers run the ball more because this is helping Herbert out. This is helping him out. All of this is helping him out. Look at that. They're finishing their blocks. And look at him. Look at number 10. You think number 10 is pissed that he didn't get a passing touchdown? Look at him. Look at him. He don't care. He doesn't care because this is winning football. All of these guys are finishing their blocks. And look, Kelly is 5 yards in the end zone. And look, they still block it. You can't tell me that this team doesn't want to run the ball. You cannot tell me that. There's nobody out there that can convince me that this team doesn't want to go out there and be physical and run the ball. You cannot tell me that. Nobody can ever tell me that they don't want to run the ball because when you see stuff like this, these guys want to be physical. They want to be physical. They want to run people over. They want to whoop ass out here. That's what these guys want to do. Joe Lombardi, Brandon Staley, ultimately, they're not letting them. This is what they want to do. This is physical, big boy football. This is what you want to see. And look at number 10. You think he is not excited about this? Look at him. He's excited. He's happy. We scored a touchdown. He don't care about his stats. He don't care about none of that. You don't need to throw the ball 45 times a game. You can be doing this. You can be doing this. This can be an every game thing. This is something that, and again, there's still time to develop this. There's still a little bit of time in the season. They have these next 3 games where they can start to get in the rhythm of running the ball, get into the rhythm of being physically aggressive at the point of attack, right? At the line of scrimmage. There's still time for this. There's no excuse why this should not continue. This right here wins you football games. And that's why I say all the time, yards, sometimes it's deceiving of how many yards you can run for and this and that. This is red zone stuff right here. Running the ball from the 1 yard line, right? Not asking Justin Herbert to save you, not asking him to, roll out left to right, throw a dart. This wins you ball games right here. This wins you ball games on the road. This wins you ball games at home. This can win you ball games on the moon. it doesn't matter where you play. This can win you ball games if you're able to run the ball in the red zone, especially in goal to go situations. If you're able to do that, you're going to win a lot of games. And I want to see the Chargers do more of this. There's no excuse why they should not be doing more of this. They got the guys to do it. They got the to do it. So they should be doing a lot more. I'm sorry. There's no excuse why they shouldn't. They really should not. Apex Prowlers, thank you for the super chat. Fella's been getting beat like a drum. Yeah, there's tape of him standing around on the stunt. Joe G tore his groin. Salute. Oh, Joe G tore his groin. Ooh. Oh man. Well, I mean, and as far as Filer goes, yeah, Filer's not. Filer's not. He just hasn't been great. He hasn't been great. He has not been great. It's up to him to really pull it around. A lot of these play, and you can't blame Filer. I mean, you can't blame Joe Lombardi for Filer not playing well, right? I blame Lombardi for some of the play calling, the sequencing, and all of that stuff. But some of these runs and stuff are the right calls. Filer is just not he's not doing his job. So yeah, I get that. I definitely understand that. Fowler's best attribute is that he played 100% of snaps. Yeah, most in the league. I don't know if fatigue age is taking a toll on him, but I expect him in a in a Colts uniform next year. I think it is age, and I think a lot of it has to do with him playing for the Steelers. They ran the ball a lot when he played for the Steelers. Playing for Mike Tomlin, you're going to run the ball. He did have some injuries up there too in Pittsburgh, so yeah, I think his age, I think he's only 32, but his 30 is probably 35 for any other offensive lineman. Like he's played a lot of physical football in the cold, a lot of AFC North stuff with the Bengals and the Ravens. Like they've played a lot of tough, hard nosed football in Pittsburgh, and he came from there. So I do believe that some of that is taking a toll on him, and he looks to have aged in the offseason, right? And if that makes any sense, like his football attributes have aged, right? He's not as quick. He's getting beat, and he's doing a lot of standing around. He's looking around a lot. So when you see offensive linemen doing that, that's how you know things are not going well for that guy in particular. So yeah, I do think that some of the attrition on his body, it has to do with him, not playing as well this season. We need that run game to get going if we want to win playoff games. Yeah, 100%. And they've showed you that they can do it. They've showed you they can do it. So I think that they are gonna. My guess is that they're gonna try to get it going these next three games. If they don't, we really don't have a chance. But it's they're gonna have to get this thing going though. They really are. They really are. To have a legitimate chance. Justin Simpson says, I know the Chargers will probably keep Staley after the season, but do you think they should keep him instead of getting Peyton or Harbaugh? I think if they make the playoffs, they're going to keep him. I don't think the owners are going to want to spend money, especially knowing that he just got to the playoffs. I just don't. I can't see that happening. I can see offensive coordinator change happening. I think that is going to happen. I think you're going to have to, right? There's too much to look at, as far as the offense, right? This season, the entire season. And you can look and say that Justin Herbert has not been utilized to his full potential. So I think an offensive coordinator change is going to happen. But as far as the coaching, if the Chargers, we clinch a playoff spot, Brandon Staley will be back next year. You can definitely guarantee that. Now, if he doesn't, and the Chargers have a collapse, a late season collapse for the second year in a row, I think he's gone. I think without a doubt he's gone. I don't think you can bring him back. It's rare that coaches survive even one late season collapse. Two of them is I don't think there's all 32 NFL teams. I don't think you can, even the Spanos family. I don't think you can do that. I just don't. I don't think you can do it. I think that there is a threshold, and two late season collapses in a row is grounds for termination for pretty much all 32 NFL teams. I honestly think so. I'm hoping that doesn't happen, but I think that is definitely that's definitely something that I think can really um realistically, yes, it can happen, but I think just if Brandon Staley keep his job, if that happens, no, absolutely not. There's no way, not a chance. Um, let's see. Arturo says we're going to get a good run at it, but offensive play calling Uh, but offensive play calling from Joe is holding the offense back. It is. It is. It's holding us back, and I don't think. Just my biggest thing is this playbook is the playbook that the Chargers have, but the sequencing of this offense, some of it doesn't make, most of it doesn't make sense, especially in the second half. I got a few plays from the second half, and you guys will see that. Now defensively, I wanted to go to, and I've talked about him quite a bit these past couple of weeks. Breeden Fehoko is playing excellent football at the nose tackle position. He's playing excellent football. Um, he is, and I just made the video the other day. He's an unsung hero, but you have to look at what he does. This guy is very fundamentally sound, extremely fundamentally sound the way that he plays. He is able to shed blocks like crazy. He's right here on this play. Let me go ahead and pause it. He's right here. He's in a one technique right here on the center, right? And Ben Jones is a pretty good center. He's one of the best centers in the league. He's very underrated, but he's been a very good center since he came out. I believe he played at Alabama with Nick Saban, so he's been coached up, pretty much his entire football career, right? Coming from college, and then coming into the Titans. Vrabel is a pretty good coach. Their offensive line coach well, their old offensive line coach was pretty good. This new guy that they have, I really don't know much about him, but Ben Jones is a damn good center. And for Hogo to be doing this against a team that is obviously a heavy run team, one of the best in the league, you cannot say enough about this guy. But look at this. Look at where he's at. He goes from center, right? He goes on to 55, Aaron Brewer, and he just ragdoll him. Gets out of, get out of my way, and stops Henry. Like, this dude has been playing excellent football. So let's rewind it again. So starts on the one on the center. Brewer's not able to really get in front of him. He's not able to stop any of his momentum going towards Henry. And he tosses him, gets out of my way, stops Derrick Henry. That's good stuff right there. That is excellent stuff. Breeden Fehoko has been playing great football. Again, this defense can work. This can work. Even if Derwin James is not back, you can simplify this in the defensive backfield, right? They can get very simple back there, keep everything in front of them, shut down the middle of the field, make quarterbacks throw tight window throws on the outside, right? Against great coverage. That's what you have to do on the back end. But on the front, right, in the front, they're able to do this. They're able to stop the run. They're able to stop the run and put teams in third and long. The Chargers are going to have an opportunity to really make some noise in the playoffs defensively, because this is what you're going to have defensively, right, in the playoffs. Your defense has to travel. Can't just be a home thing or whatever. Obviously, they're not going to have any home games if they make the playoffs, but defense has to travel. They have to be as good as they can be on the road, and obviously you're going to be playing in cold weather cities. So being able to stop the run, being able to force teams into third and long is really going to give the Chargers a legitimate chance at making some noise in the playoffs. But I think Fehoko has been extremely um, productive at the nose tackle spot ever since he came in. He was buried on the depth chart, and it didn't make sense coming into it. I made a video about it a couple months ago. Didn't make sense that how he was buried on the depth chart, even though he was the Chargers' best run stopper last season. But again, guys, it's very encouraging to watch Fehoko play and watch this defense get legitimate stops against a legitimate run team. Derrick Henry had, a good game. I mean, by his standards, right, 120 yards or whatever it is. But that's not going to kill you. You can lose playoff games rushing for 120 yards. That's not going to kill you. So I think the Chargers are turning the corner there, and I think 96 has a big role in that. And his counterpart too, not his counterpart, but his comrade, Sebastian Joseph Day, has been playing well too. This was one of Sebastian Joseph Day's best games as a Charger. Let me take you to the play here where he was, and I only got this one play here, but he was all over the field. He was all over the field. Some of these other plays, he was shedding blocks like crazy. Nobody could block him, but he played an extremely productive game for the Chargers. You look at this here. You know what's coming here, right? You know what's coming with the run. They are in the spread formation, but they're still in the I formation here. You got the fullback. You know what's coming. You know what's coming. So You look at Sebastian Joseph Day here, sheds, meets Henry in the backfield like nothing. He was doing it all game long. Very, very good stuff from him. If you got these three guys playing well, Fajoko, Sebastian Joseph Day, and then Morgan Fox, when he's in there, these guys are playing well, stopping the run. Again, you can make some noise in the playoffs because that's what it's going to boil down to: stopping the run. The Chargers are okay against the pass; they're decent against the pass. Stopping the run and then generating pressure. If they can do those two things, right, and I think you can bring Joey Bosa back along, even if they bring him back slowly, right? If he's able to play in a playoff game, him and Khalil Mack are going to be able to generate pressure. They're going to be able to generate pressure without blitzing, just rushing 4 or 5, whatever. If they're able to do that, they're going to be able to make some noise. They're going to be able to make some noise because you don't have to switch things around on defense. You can stop the hybrid crap and you can let these guys play a legitimate true 4-3. A legitimate 3-4 defense, not a 4-3, but you can let them play that and stop with the hybrid stuff. The safeties can play traditionally, right? And they can match up down the field anytime they have to match up with the tight end, wide receiver, whatever. But it all starts up front here. And if they're able to continue getting this production, the consistent production, stopping the run and really causing, havoc and chaos at the line of scrimmage, they're going to be fine. But look at it, man. Look at Sebastian Joseph Day. Get off me. Get off me. Easy stuff against one of the best run teams in the league. So that's great stuff. That's great stuff. And I'm legitimately excited to see how they continue this going forward because if they continue playing this way, I'm really going to get excited. But I don't want to get too far ahead of myself because I do think that they still have some work to do, but they're turning the corner and they are starting to play well at the right time, and I'm encouraged by that. So yeah, defensive line is really really starting to play well. Um, so now let's jump back to the offense here, and this is one of the route concepts that I really question Joe Lombardi. Obviously, question Joe Lombardi, but some of these route concepts don't make any sense, right? To run some of this stuff with the receivers that we have doesn't make sense. So I wanted to get to that here. Let's see, 14. I want to. So that was a play here, and then we're gonna look at the sideline view. So I'm questioning this route concept here, right? With Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. So I'm going to play and then pause it here. So you're looking at this here. These guys are why are they so close together, right? What and this is the whole thing about Joe Lombardi, and this is why he is a problem, right? This is why I'm going to explain why he is a problem because when you look at this, right, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, right? I have it written down somewhere here. I would have to search through my notes, but just going off their, they've both been injured this year, right? So, but just going off of their 2021 stats, right? These guys clearly, I think almost, what was it? I think almost 200 receptions, well over 2,000 yards, and then total touchdowns between them, I think was like 17 or 18. So you have 200 receptions, 2,000 yards, and almost 20 touchdowns worth of receiver running routes right next to each other, right? So the issue with this is that this can be defended with two guys, and it's being defended with two guys. There is no pressure here. There's no pressure, and it's not about. And I tell people this all the time. I see so many people they have online. They have like such baseline, like such a baseline knowledge for football, right? They're looking at this and you just want Justin Herbert to throw deep every time. You want him to be like Mahomes. No, it's not about being like Mahomes. It's not about throwing deep. It's about how much pressure you're putting on the defense. If you are an offense, your goal is to go and score points, right? But in doing so, if I'm an offensive coordinator, I want defenses to shit their pants every time they come out and play against my team, every time they play against my offense. If a defense is not scared, if a defense is not shitting their pants, worrying like, oh man, we really messed up. We really messed up there. Hopefully we don't make a mistake. Hopefully they don't score. If the defense doesn't feel like that, You are not a great offense. Now, I'm not saying you can't score points or whatever. You don't have great players, but the totality of your offense is just not what it should be. And all this money that the Chargers have on offense, you have one of the best quarterbacks in the league. This isn't good enough because this can be defended with two guys. You have two all pro receivers running routes right next to each other, and it's being defended with two guys. That is my issue here. That's the issue. This should not be, you should not be able to defend these guys with two guys. That's it. And when you look at the safety, look how far away the safety is. Look at this. Look how far away he is. He's 15 yards away from these guys here because he's not really worried about anything, going back of him. He's not really worried about this. He's not worried about what they're going to be able to do right now. When you look at this play, Josh Palmer is one-on-one with Kevin Byard right now. That is a favorable matchup, I think, right? But this is literally the only thing there. This is the only thing there. This is the only thing there. And if there's anybody in the way here, or if Herbert feels the pressure or whatever, like, there's nothing, right? It's either this or nothing. And that's my issue. Like, it's always one guy. One guy has to win on his route. And when one guy doesn't win, then it's either a sack or Herbert has to throw it away, or it's a he throws it into the ground or whatever. Like, it's always one guy or nothing. And I think that's what this offense is. It's too much of that. It's one guy or nothing. Do the Chargers have great receivers? Yes, they do. Can receivers get open? Yes, they do. But when it comes down to playing a good defense, right? You cannot just go out there and ask your guys to go and get one. Create some chaos here. Why aren't these guys crossing? And I said this in a live stream. Was it after? I believe it was a post game live stream. If you're gonna run these guys together, why not cross them? These guys are being played in man. Why not run man beaters? Crossing routes are natural man beaters because these guys, the defense both these guys, they either have to create a lane for them to pass or they're going to crash into each other. Like, it's a natural rub. It's a natural, pick your poison type of route, right? If the defense is playing aggressive man, it just makes sense. It just makes sense. And why the fact that these guys are not running opposite routes, the fact that these guys are not running man beaters, like, it doesn't make sense. This is why Joe Lombardi cannot be trusted. You can't do this. You can't do this. And if you're not going to run crossing routes, why can't Mike Williams run a dig, and why can't Keenan Allen run it out? Because maybe this guy jumps to him and maybe they leave Mike Williams wide open and now it's a big game, right? Or vice versa. There's a lot of different scenarios that you can see in this, but this is a bad play call. This is a bad play call because you have both receivers, both guys, and as good as both Mike and Keenan are, they're not speed guys. So what are you doing here? Like, what are you accentuating here? They're not doing anything. They both run a double post pattern, and it's covered pretty damn well by the worst, coverage unit in the league. That's what Tennessee is. They don't play coverage very well. They've given up a lot of yards. They've given up a lot of touchdowns. They're number 32 out of 32 as far as pass defense goes. So this should not be covered by anybody, one-on-one. But especially the worst pass defense in the league. Like, this is unacceptable to me. I'm sorry. It's just it's extremely, extremely, extremely unacceptable to me. Extremely. And this is who Joe Lombardi is as an offensive coordinator. This doesn't make sense. This is bad stuff. This is bad stuff. Now, there is another that I took this from the 49er game. I actually took this. I wanted to share it really quickly here. I took this from the 49er game on Thursday. It was last Thursday. And I wanted to share this. Oh, excuse me. Let me get this back here. I think I have the window open. Yeah, there it is. So I wanted to share this play and show how much the how much of a difference this Charger team is, this Joe Lombardi offense is from the Kyle Shanahan offense, right? This play here, and so this is the a play that they scored on, right? This is the play the Niners scored on, and this they obviously have a rookie quarterback, right? Brock Purdy. We all know by now the story, but look at this. Look at what happens here, right? Just take a look at this, right? So look at what's going on here. What is the defense looking at? What if you're these guys and you're looking, well, okay, what do we have to defend, right? So they look here, okay, this is Ray McLeod, right? He's running to the flat. Okay, it looks like a screen pass. Let's try to shoot over here, right? That's what they're thinking. Okay, so guys react here. We got this guy, he reacts, this guy reacts. Okay, no. So we're gonna go here to McCaffrey instead. So he reacts, he's looking here. Then what happens? Oh no, never mind. George Kittle breaks right in the middle of the field. So what Shanahan pretty much did with this, he parted the ways. He parted the Red Sea pretty much. He went left first, right. They're out. Now the middle of the field is wide open, and you have a rookie quarterback, obviously able to make that throw wide open to George Kittle, and they score a touchdown on that play, right? So just in case anybody didn't see, and it's a touchdown, and then we'll show it from the end zone angle here. Look at this. Look at this. So if you are here, if you're these guys, what are you looking at? What do you read? Right? All of the keys. You when you talk about reading keys and all of this stuff, how can you read all these keys? Right? Ball gets snapped. Motion. Okay, we're going there. We're going. No, no, no. Never mind. Oh, wait. Oh, no. Never mind. He's in the middle of the field, wide open. Diggs can't get over to make a play, and that's a touchdown. It's easy stuff, and that's something that happened with a rookie quarterback. You did that with a rookie quarterback. So I do not want to hear about anybody talking about Joe Lombardi is this, and we don't have, and it's the offensive line and the injuries and all of that stuff. That is not an excuse. There are ways to get people the ball. There's ways to get people the ball. There's ways to get your best players the ball, and there's ways to make it easy for your quarterback. So anything that's good for a rookie quarterback is good for Justin Herbert, right? Obviously, but that's something that an experienced play caller would do. That's something that an experienced uh, offensive line, not offensive line, an offensive coach can do, right? A Kyle Shanahan type of mind. That's experienced stuff. You're tricking the defense. You're playing tricks on the defense, and I'm not saying that you have to do that every single play, but you you have to have that type of stuff in mind because with that play, even though the Niners scored on it, right? If they come back and they run a screen, right? If they run a screen, the same type of motion, same type of action, right, to either left or right, you don't think the other guys on the other side are going to be thinking, "Let me stay home," right? Let me stay home just in case that's going to happen again, right? So now once your receiver or running back does catch the screen, they have less guys, right? Maybe they can make one miss, get a 10, 12-yard gain. There's so many things that you can do when you set plays up like that, and that's just the that's just the type of offensive mind like that a Kyle Shanahan or Mike McDaniel have. They make things easy on their quarterback. Just because you have a great quarterback doesn't mean he has to use his greatness every single play. He doesn't need that every single play. Like he doesn't need to be great every single play. You don't have to ask him to make tight window throws every single play. You don't have like that's not required. And that shouldn't be a requirement. Who else is that a requirement for? That's not a requirement for anybody else. It's not a requirement for anybody else. That's just a requirement for Justin Herbert. He has to be perfect every single play. And to me, I feel that that is extremely unfair to ask that guy to be perfect every single play because it doesn't make sense. Why? Why should he have to be perfect every play? They should be scheming things up for him. Like it's not hard. It's just not a hard thing to do, but you need a guy to do it. And the Chargers don't have it. And that's why I say this is a Joe Lombardi thing. So again, I'm going to show you before I get back to the Chargers. I want to show another play. This is another play. Now, this is not a play. This is not a touchdown scoring play or whatever. But This is a play similar to what I just showed you here, right? So I will go over this one here, and we're going to look at this, and we're going to look at exactly what happened. So the play that I just went over with Keenan and Mike, right? They're running routes pretty much close to each other, right? They're in the vicinity of each other. They're running double post routes, which doesn't make any sense because they got covered by two guys, right? Now, juxtapose that to Kyle Shanahan's offense, right? This is not the same, but it is a similar play call here, right? Now, this play it got flagged. The offensive lineman held. I will say that. But when the play plays out, this is a first down. This is a third down play. They need a first down. Watch what happens here, right? So you have McLeod and then you have Brandon Ayuk, right? They're both kind of in the same position that Mike and Keenan were, right? So when you look at this play, look at them, right? So again, similar. They're running very close to each other, right? This is being covered two guys, right? One on one. But when you look at this, stop there. Who's open? Who's open? McLeod is wide open. He catches this ball. And where's the sticks at? He catches this ball. The sticks are right here. Anybody can see it right there? The sticks right there below. So this is a first down. This is a first down. Why does he do it though? Because Ayuk creates the space for him. Bam, right there. Now, Ayuk did a little too much with this. I wouldn't have my receiver just put his hands all the way out like that. You can't. Technically, you can't do that, right? It's not a. If the referees want to get, very technical about it, they can throw a flag, because he started technically blocking, right, while the ball was still in the air, or whatever. But just the overall philosophy of it. Somebody here is going to get open. That's what it is. It's not on these guys. It's not on him. It wasn't on him to get open. It's on him to create the space. It's on him to create the rub to get open. And he's open. The ball hits him, and it's a first down, right? So Herbert McLeod, he's a speed receiver, but did he have to do anything special to get open? Did he have to pull out his best move to get open, or did he just have to run his route? All he literally did right here was just run his route, and he's open. Brandon Ayuk, the philosophy of the offense took care of that, right? He's open. It's a first down. And, besides the holding that happened, that's a first down. So that's what's going on here with the Chargers. That is something that I think is very obvious to see on film. The Chargers don't do enough of that. They just don't do enough of that. They don't create rub routes. They don't, scheme each other open pretty much. And that's a part of the scheme. And that's why I think, a lot of people have asked me about who I think the next offensive coordinator should be. I think it should be somebody from the Kyle Shanahan tree, right? I don't know who that person is. Whoever the best person is for the job, right? That's who I think should have it. But it should be somebody who is very, very, very versed at scheming guys open, because that needs to happen. Because again, I go back to this play here. Nobody's open here. Nobody's really open. And by the time Herbert throws the ball, he's already getting hit. So he can't hit Mike Williams here. He can't, because he doesn't know if he's going to come open. It would just be like, throwing into a mystery box if he would have let that go. We didn't know. He didn't know that he was going to be open. And he's honestly not really that open right here. So again, somebody's got to get open. And when you look at this, Josh Palmer does make something happen with this. Oh no, there wasn't that play, but it got defended. So, it's what are they doing? What are they doing? What is Herbert doing? Right? He has to get rid of the ball. Nobody's running open. And it's on these receivers to be perfect on these third downs. And you see they're out there in the punt formation. That was a third down, right? If they convert that, maybe they get another conversion down the field, or they're able to score, get another field goal, put more points on the board, whatever it is, right? They're able to actually do something positive in the game and not just punt the ball away. That's where this offense falls short, and that's where it falls flat on its face. And that's where Herbert and nobody else can really save it, because there's too many of these plays, right? And they are, in the grand scheme of things, right, when they get written down in the the stat book, they're, very inconsequential, just punts. But when you look at who you have on offense, who you have at quarterback, who you have at wide receiver, it doesn't need to be this hard, right? They should be converting more of these. So that's one of the things that I think is a very, very, very disappointing thing with this offense. I'm sick and tired of seeing all of this stuff happen on third down. I'm sick and tired of the simplicity of this offense. Herbert deserves more. This offense deserves more, and hopefully they get it in the offseason. Now, this play here is one of Joe Lombardi is not going to he's not going to learn, and it's just not going to it's just not going to it's never going to bake into his head. It's never ever going to bake into his head. Um, Now let me get the let's see. Look how much time that quarterback has at a clean pocket. That was because he's a rookie quarterback. That was a quick throw. It's not about a clean pocket. It's a quick throw. Herbert held the ball on the last play for way longer than what he needed to. If the Chargers ran that same route concept, Herbert wouldn't have got hit at all. The ball would have been out of his hands like that quickly on a third down. But they didn't run that. They ran deep route concepts. They both ran a double post. Posts take time to develop down the field, especially when you don't have speed receivers. So him not having time is a function of Joe Lombardi calling the play. It's not just about offensive line. You have to get rid of the ball. If you're not able to get rid of the ball, you are going to be getting hit like that. And if you're not able to get rid of the ball, how much of your offense is based off the quick timing stuff? When you have one-on-one like that, somebody can easily get open. Somebody can easily get open. You can run a natural pick play. That's what I just described right now when you see the Niners offense. It wasn't about the pocket being clean. It's about the quarterback getting rid of that ball. Nobody's going to be in the pocket in half a second. Nobody's going to be there. Quarterback has time to get rid of the ball. Herbert had enough time to get rid of the ball if that play was run the same way the Niners ran it. They just don't do that though, and that's been my whole thing. That's been my whole thing with Joe Lombardi. Got to get rid of the ball in situations like that, and you have favorable matchups. You have Mike Williams, you have Keenan Allen, both flanked out one on one. You got to go with one of them, and that's not the way that the play developed. But hey, it is what it is. But it's not just the offensive line. You can't just blame the offensive line when things go wrong. You have to blame play calling. The play caller knows more than anybody what this offensive line is capable of, what they're not capable of. It's not just about offensive line play. This is the offensive line the Chargers have. So you have to game plan around it. You have to play call around it. And you can't just say, oh man, well, this offensive line is not good. We can't do it. No. That's not acceptable to me. That's not acceptable to most fans, I think. So you got to play call your way around it. You can't just blame the offensive line. You can't just blame anybody else. You have to step up. You get paid as an offensive coordinator, act like it. Okay, so this play here is a very, very stupid play. This happens at least one time a game. The Chargers, not the Chargers. I don't want to say everybody. Joe Lombardi treats DeAndre Carter like he is Justin Jefferson, and I don't know why. Honestly, don't know why. I have nothing against DeAndre Carter, but this is his ninth team that he's been. The Chargers are his ninth team, and I think he's only been in the league 9 years. So this brother has been on a different team every single season, and there's a reason why. Obviously, right? If he was a Justin Jefferson, if he was anybody like that, he would not be on different teams every single season. Why do the Chargers use him in this manner? I don't understand. So again, we have another behind the line of scrimmage play, another end around that don't work. Every time the Chargers do this, they lose a lot of yards. You look at this here. This is a 10-yard loss. This is a 10-yard loss. You can't just bid on this and say, "Oh man, it was a bad play. Move on to something else." You're now in 2nd and 20. You're in 2nd and 20 now. If I said this several weeks ago, if Herbert snaps the ball and takes a knee, you lose considerably less yards than this. This is stupid. Why are they calling this? DeAndre Carter is not fast enough for this. He is not the athlete that you want running this. He gets caught if you get caught in end arounds every single game, you're not as fast as you think you are. Or I don't understand. I really, really, for the life of me, I can't not understand why they run this. Why is this even in the playbook? There's nobody, there's not a single guy on the roster you can really run this with. Maybe a Mike Williams, maybe him. But even at that point, it does not make sense. It doesn't make. Why do you run this? Why? Why? This does not work. This does not work against anybody. Again, the Titans are not a good defense. This did not work. This fooled nobody. This fooled absolutely nobody. And this takes so long to develop. What are they doing? This is not going to go anywhere. Look at the pursuit. This guy gets him down, but everybody is going towards him. At your best case scenario is that at this point with the pursuit going this way, this is a 3 to 4 yard loss. Your best case scenario. This does not make any sense. Why do the Chargers run this? Why? Why is this in the playbook? This doesn't make any sense. This is why I say Joe Lombardi is playing Madden. Joe Lombardi is playing Madden. This is awful. This is awful play calling. Awful. This is terrible. This is terrible play calling. You do not have the athletes to run this. You cannot run this. You can't just steal plays from other teams if you don't have the personnel to run it. This is not good. This is not good. This is just not good at all. This is not good at all. This is stupid. And it gets every single game this happens. Every single play, every single game. Tony Reyes says play calling got us to the 6th seed with no run game and leaky O-line. Lombardi is not the problem. Fans are the problem. You're the problem, Tony. You're the problem because you're a Lombardi nut hugger. Nobody likes Joe Lombardi. Just in case if you know this, look up Joe Lombardi. Look him up. He got fired in Detroit for not throwing Calvin Johnson the ball. You do know who Calvin Johnson is, right, sir? You do know who Calvin Johnson is. Tony Reyes, do you know who Calvin Johnson is? Do you know who Calvin Johnson? If you know who Calvin Johnson is, tell me who he is. And tell me how many years it took him to get to the Hall of Fame. 9 years. It took him 9 years to get to the Hall of Fame. 9 seasons to get to the Hall of Fame. Joe Lombardi is the guy that didn't throw him the ball. Joe Lombardi is the guy that told him to go run stick routes. Calvin Johnson is probably, you can argue, behind Jerry Rice and Randy Moss, the greatest downfield threat to ever play in the NFL. He's up to maybe top 5. Maybe there's more guys. He's for sure top 5. That's the guy that your guy Joe Lombardi didn't get the ball to. He didn't get the ball to Calvin Johnson. That's why his ass got fired in Detroit. Joe Lombardi doesn't know what he's doing. The sooner you realize that, the better you'll be. This is not me making this up either. You can go online. You can go look it up. That's who he is. He did not get him the ball. And when you see people, and not just people, when you see former NFL players, former defensive players, former quarterbacks, former wide receivers saying Joe Lombardi, former head coaches saying Joe Lombardi is holding Justin Herbert back, you're inclined to believe them, sir. Whatever your opinion is invalid. It's invalid. I'm going to believe quarterbacks who play in this league, quarterbacks who play for Joe Lombardi himself, I'm going to believe them over you. I don't give a shit what the 6th seed is. It doesn't matter what the 6th seed is. Justin Herbert can do this. Justin Herbert can do it. He can do it. He is a guy that can do it. He can overcome bad coaching. This is not surprising to me. This is not surprising that we're here. He can overcome bad coaching. This makes no difference at all. No difference at all. So you're saying that Joe Lombardi is the guy who got us into the 6th seed. What difference does that make? Do you remember the greatest quarterbacking season of all time? Do you remember that? Do you know what it is? If you know what it is, if you know what that is, let me know, right? Let me know. If you don't know, I will tell you. It's Peyton Manning's season, right? Peyton Manning's 2013 season. Who was the offensive coordinator for Peyton Manning's 2013 season? There's never been a quarterbacking season that has ever been better than that. Highest passer rating, highest yards, most touchdowns, completion percentage, everything, all of it. Number one, the highest of all time. The highest of all time. Who was the coach? Who was the offensive coordinator behind that? Adam Gase. Adam Gase was the offensive coordinator for Peyton Manning's record-breaking, all-time great quarterbacking season. Again, there's never been a quarterbacking season that has been better than that. Statistic-wise, everything, there's never been a season in the history of the league. In the vast history of this league, there's never, ever been a season better than that. Adam Gase. Adam Gase was that. No, it wasn't Mike McCoy. It was Adam Gase. Adam Gase. That's what got him hired in. Where was he at first? Was it Miami? Did he get hired in Miami first? I believe he was hired in Miami. No, he was a. I think he went to go be the offensive coordinator in Chicago. Then he got hired in Miami. But Adam Gase was behind that quarter. He was the offensive coordinator. So you're telling me Adam Gase is responsible for Peyton Manning's best quarterbacking season ever? Get out of here. You have no idea what you're talking about. You have no idea what you're talking about. You come on here with no clue. You have no understanding of football. You have no understanding. Great quarterbacking can get you out of a lot of bullshit. It's saving Joe Lombardi. Great quarterbacking can. And this goes to show this is what's going on here, obviously, in LA. You're giving Joe Lombardi credit for what Justin Herbert is doing. Justin Herbert is the guy doing this. It's not Joe Lombardi. This play calling is terrible. I'm going through it. I'm meticulously going through this, picking it apart piece by piece. And you see it too. I'm not just talking shit. You see this. This is tape. This is film. Film doesn't lie. Joe Lombardi is the damn problem. And if you can't see that, then you know nothing about football. That's all I have to say. You don't know anything about football if you think that Joe Lombardi is not the problem. You have no idea. You know nothing about football. That's really, really all I can say. Because the team is in a position now, you give the coach the credit. It does. Adam Gase was responsible for Peyton Manning's season. Adam Gase was responsible for Peyton Manning's best season. Same thing here. Why was Joe fifth in offense last year if he's so bad? Eck 20 touchdowns, Herbert 38 touchdowns. Again, Adam Gase was responsible for Peyton Manning's season. You guys act like Justin Herbert is just some fly-by-night quarterback. Is it not Justin Herbert? I really don't understand it. Is it not Justin Herbert? Is it not Justin Herbert? Is it not? Is it not Justin Herbert? Is it not Justin Herbert? I don't understand. If you think Joe Lombardi is a good coordinator, you know nothing about football and you can't be helped. This is Sean Payton wannabe offense. This is all of these plays are taken from Sean Payton. All of these plays the Saints ran. And this is a completely different team, a completely different personnel. A completely different personnel than what is going on. These are all plays that are just rehashed and remade for, another team. Same exact shit. Nothing is different about it. There's no tweaking of it. This is all the same shit. It is. It's just all the same shit. And it's bad stuff. And this is who Joe Lombardi has been. He has had absolutely no success outside of Justin Herbert. No success outside of Justin Herbert at all. And you got to think about that too. Matt Stafford is now a Super Bowl winning quarterback, right? He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He's a Super Bowl MVP. He couldn't even win, 5 games when he had Matt Stafford. And prime Matt Stafford too. And prime Calvin Johnson. So come on, man. Come on. You know nothing about football if you think that this is good offense. You know absolutely nothing about football if you think that this is good offense. When you see this play, and I've showed this play here, how many times I've been on here breaking down film pretty much all season, and I've shown this play I don't know how many times behind the line of scrimmage plays. How many times does it come up? At the end of the season, right? Matter of fact, at the end of the season, I'm going to take all of the behind the line of scrimmage plays. I'm going to take all of the end arounds, and I'm going to put them together in a compilation because it's week 15. This has not worked all season long, and the Chargers still continue to run this. What good coordinator would run plays like this? Please tell me. Please tell me. What good coordinator would run plays like this? Please, I want to know. And the Chargers, they ran this last week and it didn't work. They ran this the week before and it didn't work. So why keep doing it? I don't get it. I don't get it. I absolutely do not get it at all. I don't understand it. They say, so what if the Chargers get a new OC and does worse next year than what? How much worse can you get than what's going on here? You scored 17 points against one of the worst defenses in the league at home, while they're injured as well too. They're playing their practice squad guys. So you're telling me the Chargers can't put up more than 17 points on practice squad guys? Is that what you're saying? You don't think a new offensive coordinator can do better than that? I do. Come on, man. Get out of here with that. Mike Dub has also been a king in Joe's offense as well. He's been okay. He's been okay. He's been okay. He can be a lot better. He still can be a lot better. He's a talented guy. He's 6'4", like 230. He's going to get a lot of opportunities just on how big and how strong he is. And he boxes people out. So it's not really the offense. Is it him? You don't think he could do the same thing in Kansas City? You don't think he could do the same thing in Cincinnati? You don't think Mike Williams could be a superstar in any other place, Philadelphia? Like, come on, man. You get out of here with that. You guys get out of here. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It really does. Really doesn't make sense. Top 3 run defense, not the worst. They're 32nd in pass, though. They're 32nd in pass. And they were playing with backups. They're 32nd in pass. I'm not talking about the run defense. I'm talking about the pass defense. 32nd in pass. I did a video just going into the week about how bad their pass defense was. And I put 8 plays from when they played the Jaguars. And the Jaguars were going down the field. Trevor Lawrence was eating that defense alive. You see, I put 8 plays out there where they ate this defense alive. 8 of them. And they put up like 38 points on them at home in Tennessee. They did that in Tennessee. The Jaguars offense did that in Tennessee. Now, the Jaguars, they have a decent offense. If you just go player for player, the Chargers have a better offense on paper. They should have been able to do that easily. What's the difference, though? 17 points against a bad total defense. Yes, they're 3rd in running, but the Chargers don't do a lot of running. The Chargers pass the ball 45 times, and they do it every single game. So they don't do a lot of running. This is a bad pass defense. Herbert should have ripped this defense up. The Chargers should have scored at least 30 points in this game. They did not do that. This is a bad offense. This is a bad offensive coordinator. Bad offensive coordinator. And anybody who is defending him don't know shit about football. You just don't know anything about football. You keep talking about last year. That shit doesn't matter. Not only that, but last year, against top 10 defenses, the Chargers got shut down every time. Nobody ever wants to talk about that either. Nobody ever wants to talk about that. Anytime the Chargers faced a top 10 defense last year, they got shut down. So all of those stats came against pretty shitty defenses. They got shut down. When it was time to score, they got shut down against top 10 defenses. On the road in Baltimore, at home against New England. Anybody remember those games? The Vikings at home too. They got shut down when it was time to score, when it was time to go downfield, when it was time to get a field goal, when it was time to get first downs. The Chargers couldn't do it last year. Yes, they had the 5th ranked offense, but they couldn't do it. A 5th ranked offense should be able to go down the field and score, right? They weren't able to do it against top 10 defenses. That's Joe Lombardi's. That's your 5th rank. That is your 5th ranked offense that you talk about last year. Those stats don't matter though. Doesn't mean anything. If you can't score against good teams, and that's who you play in the playoffs is good teams, what do your stats matter? This is why all of this is a problem. You guys are getting, the people who love Joe Lombardi, you're getting too into stats, and you're letting that shit determine, well, they're a 5th ranked offense in the league. They didn't make the damn playoffs. I'm sorry. They didn't make the playoffs. The offense wasn't good enough to make the playoffs. It just wasn't. It just it doesn't make any sense. I can't believe how many Joe Lombardi dick writers there are in here. After you watch this game and you've seen that the Chargers weren't able to do anything against a terrible overall defense, the worst pass defense in the league, everybody banged up. linebackers who couldn't cover. This is who you're defending? This y'all king? Come on, man. I have no idea how you guys know anything, how you watch football and think that you are seeing something good. Again, NFL Network, ESPN, guys, players, coaches who know more about football. They know more, they have more football knowledge than all of us combined on here. They're telling you what you're seeing is a bad offense. What you're seeing is bad play calling. They sit there and they tell you that every single day. And they've been talking about Joe Lombardi in the national media for the past 2 weeks now. They've sat there every day and told you, man, this ain't good. This ain't good. Herbert needs better. Herbert can do better. He can get better play calling. He can get better. Y'all sit there and look at that, and then you're just like, oh no, that doesn't matter. They know more than you. They know more than you. They know more than you think you know more than them. You think you know more than some of these guys who have played in the league for 10 years. You don't. They're telling you what you see is bad. And I agree with him because I'm watching it myself. I don't know as much football as him, but I know a little bit, and I can see that this ain't nothing to worry about if you're a team playing the Chargers. You don't really have to worry about this. All you have to worry about is Justin Herbert being great. That's it. This routine stuff, though, you know that the Chargers are going to stop themselves a lot of the times because of play calling. It is what it is. Like, it is what it is. Since people were talking about Lombardi success last year, I saw a video during that time that made me a Lombardi. Defending. I'll get that. Be right back. Let's see. I think I've probably seen 2 jump ball plays from Mike Dubb in the red zone this year. Exactly. He's one of the best red zone targets in the league, and they don't use him. Let's see. Show the double pick play wide receiver crossing routes the Bulls run. That play is magic. I can cherry pick plays just as well. I'm not cherry picking plays. This is the tape. This is what the tape is. I'm not going to show every single play, but I'm going to show you more of the bad plays because the Chargers only scored 17 points because there was more bad offensive plays than there was good offensive plays. If there was more good offensive plays, we would have more points. Come on, man. It's not that hard. I don't know who you think you're fooling here. If there was more good plays, I would show more good plays. There's not. And everybody just wants to go and blame the offensive line. It's not just about the offensive line. This is a play calling thing. This is a play calling thing. This is a play designing thing. This is an offensive philosophy thing. It's not just about the offensive line. There's bad shit that goes all around. And it's not just the offensive line. And it starts with the guy calling plays up top. We run a flat play with DC again, the Dolphins in the red zone on 4th down. Yes, we did. We ran that play with him on 4th down, in the red zone, and they didn't score with DeAndre Carter. Stupid shit. Running stupid shit when you have Mike Williams, Keenan Allen. Both those guys are healthy. It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense. Who does well against top 10 defenses, top 10 offenses? You said that we had a top 5 offense last year. Top 5 offenses do well against top 10 defenses. What are you talking about? Hello? Sir. Weston Herbert. Sir. Let me handle this, man. Let me. Who does well against top 10 defenses? Did you not watch the Chiefs and the Niners this year? Did you not watch? As I recall, the Niners have the number 1 defense in the league. As I recall, the Chiefs have a top 10 offense in the league. The Chiefs put up 48 points against the number 1 defense at home, nonetheless. Come. Are you being serious? Top 10 offenses do well against top 10 defenses. That's what happens. The Chiefs have a top 10 offense. They put it on the Niners. That's what happens. That's what it is. They put up 48 points, beat the dog shit out the number 1 defense. Nobody was talking about the number 1 defense after the Chiefs put it on them that week. Nobody was talking about that. They're talking about them now, and they have played well, and they play good, and yes, they deserve it. But nobody was watching them. Nobody was talking about them. Nobody was talking about them after that week. Mahomes and the Chiefs and Andy Reid, they put it on them. So yes, top 10 offenses normally do well against top 10 defenses. Come on, man. Come on. This is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. As a coach, man, I love your take. You're 100. Thank you. Thank you. I try to be fair. I try to be fair. When I thought Lombardi has been good in a few games, I've come on here and I've given him credit for being good. But you should be scoring more than 17 points against a team like the Titans. No team speed, defensively, really can't threaten you, right? The way that they play defense, the Chargers should be taking advantage of that. The Chargers are a primarily throwing team. They throw the ball more than anybody in the league. They should be taking advantage of a 32 ranked, 32nd dead last ranked secondary. There's no excuse as to why they should not be taking advantage of that and score more than 17 points. Come on, man. The best offenses in the league can do that in a quarter. They can do that in a quarter. The best offenses in the league can go out there and score 17 in a quarter without hesitation. So please, like people got to spare me that, man. They got to spare me that. The headlines are the Chargers need to unleash his talent. Yeah, it's the eye test. He doesn't pass the eye test. Yeah, he doesn't pass the eye test. And then when you break it down and you look at these plays, they don't make sense. They're out of sequence. They don't make sense. They don't. What exactly are you trying to do? Right? What are you trying to do on this drive? Are you trying to get downfield? Are you trying to be cute? Or are you trying to establish your running identity? What is it? None of it makes any sense. The Chargers came out this game against Tennessee trying to run the ball a lot, right? Which is fine. You try to establish the run, but then they come out doing this, giving DeAndre Carter end arounds to get caught because he never turns this into a positive play. This is always a negative play. Every single week, this is a negative play. But every single time he comes out saying, well, we're going to run this end around. And it puts the Chargers automatically in a second and long. And then they end up punting and getting off the field right after that. Like you're taking away possessions from your offense. And I don't think people understand that. These possessions are not going to come very easy, especially if you make the playoffs. You're going to have to do the most that you can with the possessions that you have, especially on the road, in a hostile environment. You got to make the best of your possessions. You can't waste any possessions like this. These are wasted possessions. Wasted. Absolute wasted possessions. Absolute wasted possessions. Again, I'm not saying Joe is good, just not as bad as you say. He is as bad as we say because he's not taking advantage of he's wasting a year of one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He's not good. He's just not good. This team is Justin Herbert reliant. This is all it is. This is a Justin Herbert reliant team. This is not a good offense. Justin Herbert is a good quarterback, and he makes this offense is what it is. Like that's all that can be said. Joe Lombardi is playing human Madden, and I've said that. None of this shit makes any sense. When you watch the tape from beginning to end, and you watch the offense, all of it is out of sequence. None of it makes any sense. These are all Sean Payton's old plays. This is Sean Payton's old playbook that Joe Lombardi has, and he's using it to call plays. This does not make any sense. It doesn't make sense. Oh, look at this, man. Come on. Chiefs caught Niners with injuries. Niners got held. Oh, injuries. Another injury excuse. Either the Niners are the best defense in the league or they're not. Injuries. Either they're the best defense in the league or they're not. Come on. They put up 48 points on the best defense in the league. Stop with the injuries. Come on, man. Get out of here with that. If there are more bad plays all season long, you are not the 6th seed. It does not pass the smell test. The Chargers, they still have to continue winning. They were in the 6th seed at this point last year. They were 8-5 last year. What happened? They shit the bed. They're still not in the playoffs yet. They have not clinched yet. I don't know why you're talking like they're in the 6th. They have not clinched yet. There's still games to win. They're not in the playoffs yet. You're talking like they're in the playoffs. They're not in the playoffs yet. They have lost games to teams that they should not have lost to. They have not scored points in most of the games this season. They have not scored enough points. This offense has underachieved all season long. He is not a good offensive coordinator. Nobody else thinks this. In the league, nobody else thinks this. Nobody else. This is his last. He will not be an offensive coordinator anywhere else. This is not up for debate. This dude is not good. He's not seen as a good offensive coordinator. He's just not. I don't know why you're trying to argue that being in the 6th seed is more than just Joe Lombardi. Obviously, the defense has played pretty damn good the past 2 weeks. You're not giving any credit to them. You're not giving any credit to the defense for shutting down Tua. Where's the credit for them? They have not scored. The offense have not scored enough points. They just haven't. They haven't scored enough points. This offense has underachieved. Herbert's numbers are down. I get that he's injured, but his numbers are down. His red zone numbers are down. His touchdowns are down. All of these stats that show if he was being as efficient as he was last year, if the offense was even on the same level as it was last year, his numbers would look similar, and they don't. He's going to finish with worse numbers. And I get that he has the injury. I get it. I understand that. But still, this offense does not put pressure on any defenses. It doesn't. Scoring 17 points against the Titans is not good enough. That's not good enough. If the Chargers play offense like this, if they do make the playoffs and they play offense like this, they will be gone in the first round. You can bet your ass. They will be gone in the first round. They absolutely will be gone in the first round. There's absolutely no reason to not be scoring points. Y'all think it's okay that, oh, then the offensive line and this and that. Nobody else gives a shit. Let's play the world's smallest violin for our offensive line injuries. Nobody cares. Tennessee was banged up. They were banged up like crazy. They came in and they fought. Nobody cares about the injuries. Nobody cares. And this offensive line, if you want to line them up against most offensive lines in the league, they're a hell of a lot better. A hell of a lot better on paper than most offensive lines in the league. So that's not an excuse. I don't want to hear all of that stuff. I really don't. I honestly don't want to hear that, because you cannot roll the pocket out against Miami knowing that we have a bad offensive line and then keep Herbert in the pocket all game long against Tennessee. That doesn't make sense. That's inconsistency. That's what that's called. And that's why the Chargers didn't score points. That's why they didn't score points. It does not make sense. Y'all are making excuses for shit. That's why you're Charger fans. That's why I say Charger fans are very cucky. You're cucky because the Chargers will give you a hot piece of shit and tell you, here you go, enjoy your burger. And you guys will eat it and say, thank you, sir. May I have another? That's what you guys are doing in these comments here. Justin Herbert deserves so much better than this. But you guys are like, no. Well, what about the 6th seed? What the fuck? Who gives a shit about the 6th seed? You're happy with the 6th seed? You think Justin Herbert should be a 6th seed? Why can't we be a 1 seed? Why can't we win the AFC West? What happened to that? You're happy being the 6th seed? You're happy with shit? They give you shit and you eat it? Come on, man. Get out of here. How much do you hate Lombardi? I hate Lombardi enough for him to get fired. That's what I hope. That's really what I hope, because there's no reason why this guy should be the offensive coordinator. Just like Derrick Ford says right here, we should be scoring 30 points a game with Herbert. 100%. We should be one of the best offenses in the league, going all the way down the field. All the way down the field. But there are a lot of cucky Charger fans who love this. Oh my God, we're the 6th seed. Oh, great, we're the 6th seed. Oh, just great. Just great. We're the 6th seed because we can't do anything else, right? Get out of here, man. Let's see. Okay, Pigskin, since you two keep eating the links I sent, look up Weekly Spiral Joe Lombardi. Keep in mind that the league got an offseason studying the offense on tape. Weekly, yeah, I'll look that up right now. See, I read multiple articles with Saints fans saying how bad Lombardi was, third down conversions and 3 and outs when the Chargers hired him. And the Lions fans from 7 years ago as well, too. I think Dom says it right here. The video pretty much explains exactly what's going wrong with his play calling, but it was 7 years ago. Yeah, and it's still the same exact problems now that he has with the Chargers. Right. And I did the whole PFF thing. I did the PFF thing, what was it, a couple of weeks ago, right after the Raiders game. They pointed out exactly what was wrong. They watch all the tape. They watch all the tape and they see that this is not a good offense. Anybody who does any type of tape or any type of professional analysis and all that stuff, again, including former players, they all say that Joe Lombardi is not good. But there's cucky fans on here who are saying, "Oh, well, he's not that bad." Like, who should I listen to? A cucky fan who eats a shit burger that the Chargers give him, or the professionals who played this game and played it at the level that we're watching every Sunday, right? Should I listen to those guys? Should I listen to those guys, or should I listen to the random fans who say that, "Oh no, he's not that bad"? Please get out of here. You can have whatever opinion you want to, but you're not going to come in here and you're not going to convince me, and you're probably not going to convince anybody else that Joe Lombardi is the answer that the Chargers need. Come on, man. You're not going to convince that. You're not going to convince anybody of that. I bet your hate runs so deep you would fire Lombardi even if we win this. We're not winning the Super Bowl with Joe Lombardi. That's the thing. You're living in a dream world. You're living in the fantasy world. You're living in the fantasy world. If we won the Super Bowl, be honest. If so, that is damaged thinking. You care more about being right versus no, I don't. That's just not going to happen. You're living in the fantasy world. If we win the Super Bowl, then I fuck Jennifer Lopez. I also get $20 million, right? I get my own helicopter. uh what else do I get? Right, I get to play. I get to go and play for the Lakers. I get to do all of this shit. Right, that's what you have a pie in the sky way of thinking right now. You're thinking like a Raider fan. Well, if we win the Super, we're not winning the Super. That's my whole point. We're not going to win the Super Bowl with this guy calling plays. That is the entire point. We're not going to win the Super Bowl with this dumbass calling plays. That is my whole point. You're talking about if we're not winning no damn Super Bowl with him. That's the whole point. That's why I'm making these videos. That's why I'm on live. We're not going to make the Super Bowl with this guy calling plays. We're just not. I don't understand that. I cannot understand why you guys think that this guy is going to do something that is going to be spectacular on a Super Bowl level. Again, if you are not good enough, if you are so stupid that you cannot throw Calvin fucking Johnson the ball in Detroit, what makes you think that he's going to do anything here? He did not throw Calvin Johnson the fucking ball. Go and look up all of the shit from Joe Lombardi in Detroit. There's people who have given you titles here in the chats. Why do you think that we can win a Super Bowl? You have Calvin Johnson on your team, a motherfucker whose name Megatron. That's his nickname, and he didn't give it himself. Somebody gave him that. And everybody's like, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, that is Megatron. Yeah, he's definitely Megatron. A motherfucker named Megatron can't get the ball. Joe Lombardi won't throw him the ball. He's telling him to go run out and run stick routes. That's who you're talking about. When you talk about Joe Lombardi, that's who you're talking about. If you cannot throw Calvin Johnson the ball, if you can't get the ball to Calvin Johnson as an offensive coordinator, what the hell makes you think that we're going to go to a Super Bowl? Why is that even in your lexicon when describing Joe Lombardi? We're not winning no Super Bowl with Joe Lombardi. That's the whole entire point of this. If I thought we can win a Super Bowl with Joe Lombardi, I wouldn't come on here and I wouldn't do this. And I wouldn't look at this and I wouldn't run these plays. You think that we're going to win a Super Bowl with Joe Lombardi? Come on, man. How does that make any sense? It doesn't make any sense. Like it's so like it's so ridiculous. I cannot I cannot I cannot understand what some of these fans are thinking. I really don't. I really don't. How bad was Lombardi's play calling last year? I remember the Chargers having a top offense. They had a top offense in stats, but they could not beat or score any points against any top 10 defenses. And that's the issue. That's the problem. If you get to the playoffs, guess who's going to be there? Top 10 defenses, right? If you can't score against top 10 defenses, what are you doing? It doesn't matter if you can score a bunch of points against bad teams, right? It really honestly doesn't matter. And the Chargers are not even doing that. They're not even scoring a lot of points against bad teams. That's one thing. They're not even doing that. But even if they were, like they were last year, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. If you can't score points against good teams, if you can't convert on 3rd and 5, if you can't convert on 3rd and 6, right, with the game on the line or whatever, if you can't do that, then you don't have a good offense. I'm sorry, you just don't. You have to be able to convert in spots you need to convert to win games. All those other stats really don't mean shit. And that's what the Chargers did. They put up a lot of stats last year. But where did the Chargers watch the playoffs last year? On their fucking couch. None of that shit matters. It doesn't matter at all. None of it. None of it. Not a single thing matters. If you cannot convert on third down, if you can't be good on third down. And again, a lot of it has to do with play calling. A lot of it has to do with play calling. Herbert was fantastic last season. He was healthy all season long. He was fantastic, but it doesn't mean it does not mean that you are a great offense just because your quarterback has a good year. It really doesn't mean that. It really doesn't mean that, because you're not as good as you think you are if you cannot score against some of the best defenses, right? If you are top 5 in offense, and that's what the Chargers were last year. I don't know who was top 5 in defense, but if I go back and look it up, I bet the Chargers if they did play, I bet they were not able to score points against them. If I went back to look it up, that's just what it is. So I just don't understand. Like, you don't get medals, you don't get a ring for being top 5 offense. You don't. If you don't do anything with that, you don't get anything. You don't get anything. So yes, in stats, the Chargers were a top 5 offense, but everybody was healthy last year, and it was just a different year. And it was Lombardi coming to the Chargers, right? Lombardi had not play called in 7 years. That the last time he play called, the last time he was offensive coordinator was in 2015 with the Lions. So you have a lot of new coaches in that time. You have a lot of people who hadn't seen Lombardi's offense, right? Lombardi's offense, even though Sean Payton's offense. You had a lot of people who didn't see that. So you weren't able to obviously advance scout the Chargers. You just had to come out and, use whatever game tape that you had. There was nothing on them, right? There's no books written on them. You don't have any extra film on them. You just didn't have it. And then the offense that Lombardi has, it looks different with Justin Herbert as quarterback, because everybody knows Lombardi has the same playbook that Sean Payton has, right? That's his playbook. But it looks different with Justin Herbert at quarterback. So if you're going out, if you were a team last year, right? Let's say, like, because I was at the Browns game, right? The Browns couldn't stop the Chargers at all. Let's say their defensive coordinator, Joe Woods, let's say that he, in order to prepare for the Chargers offense, right? Because that was a week 5 game. So there had only been 5 games, right? There wasn't too much tape out on the Chargers. Let's say they went back and watched some New Orleans Saints offensive, plays, whatever, from the previous year, or even 2 years ago, right? Let's say they looked and wanted to see what the offense would look like. You can't put any stock in that, because obviously Drew Brees and Justin Herbert are 2 totally different quarterbacks. So Justin Herbert, all the plays that he made in this offense are not the plays that Drew Brees made in this offense. Some of the touchdowns and all that stuff are not, they weren't touchdowns when Drew Brees played in this offense, right? Some of the stuff that you see, it wasn't the same. Like, there was nothing out there. There was no advanced scouting out there. But as whoever it was that made the point, coming into this season, there was tape out. There was a full 17 game slate out of Joe Lombardi, Justin Herbert in this offense. There was a full slate of it out. So now, if you're a team in the summertime, if you're a defensive coordinator in the summertime, you're looking to get ahead or whatever, now you can pop on the tape from last year and say, oh, okay, they do this, and that. Now I can prepare for this. So now there's tape out on you. Now there's tape. You can understand what they do. Like, you can't do that against Andy Reid. You can't do that against Kyle Shanahan. You can't do that against some of the best offensive minds in this league. You can't do that. You can go back and watch tape last year of what Andy Reid called, but when you face him again this year, guess what? You're gonna have to be on your P's and Q's. Whatever he did last year, you can't use any of that shit at all, right? Maybe there might be 1 or 2 things that are similar, but this is coming from a guy that is creative, right? And that is, you're not going to, if he called one game last year, if he ran the ball 40 times against you last year, he can come out this year against the same exact team, run the ball 15 times, right? And throw it all over the yard, throw for 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, and whatever. Like, there's variations to what Andy Reid does. And it's a game plan specific thing. If your defense is weak in one area, he's going to hit you in that area. Like, it's not, you don't just come out and run the same plays every week. And that's what the Chargers do. They come out and run the same plays every single week. It doesn't matter who the defense is. It doesn't matter what they do well, what their weakness is. They're going to come out and run the same shit every week. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And that's what you can chalk it up to last year. It worked most of the time last year, but it's not working this year. And that's it is a good offensive coordinator just based off of 1 year? Is that what we're basing that off of? The people who are defending Joe Lombardi? Is that what you're basing it off of? Because if it is, then again, you don't know football. But that's pretty much what it is. That's why the Chargers were okay last year on offense. We won based off Herbert's ability to be magnificent. Yeah, his ability to roll out of the pocket, threading needles, ability to run. Yeah, and you can't rely on heroics week in and week out. Right. Kevin Cruz, I feel like this offense will work in 1995. Hell yeah, this would be a good offense in 1995. But this is the modern NFL. You can't get away with that. You cannot get away with that. You absolutely cannot get away with the things that you get away with now. People see good offenses from week to week to week. These defensive coordinators have a lot to deal with. So it's refreshing to come out and play against a team like the Chargers because they're not going down the field on you. They're not going to do anything that is going to make you super uncomfortable. They are going to run stupid plays. They're going to give end arounds to guys who have been all around the league, journeymen. They're going to cook up trick plays to journeymen in the red zone. They're gonna beat themselves. So you don't have to be very worried anytime you play the Chargers. You really don't. You really, really don't. This guy's still here, man. This guy's still here. We win the Super Bowl and admit the F you were wrong, but you can't do it. That is easy to do. I rest we haven't won the Super Bowl. What case do you have no case to rest? We haven't won the Super. What are you talking about? We have not won the Super Bowl. What case do you have to rest? You're being a dummy. We will okay. How about get us to the AFC Championship and admit you were wrong? You can't do it and won't do it. Are we in the AFC Championship? Are we in the AFC Championship? Are we in the AFC Championship? No. None, none of that. None of this makes sense. You don't have no case to rest. If the Chargers if Lombardi calls games the way that he has been calling them, we're not going to win a single goddamn playoff game. Who do you think we're going to beat going in playing offense like this? Have you seen the Bengals play? Have you seen the Bills play? Have you seen the Chiefs play? You have to score points to keep up with those teams. Defense can do as much as they can. You have to score points. You have to score points. You absolutely have to score points to do that. If you don't score points, you're not going to have a chance against any of those teams because you're not going to come in. You're not going to shut any of those teams down. It's just not realistic. It's not a realistic expectation to have. You have to score points. If you don't score points, it's just not going to happen, man. It's just not going to happen. It's absolutely not going to happen. Nolan said, I like to convince myself that Lombardi is intentionally calling bad plays so teams have no film on us in the playoffs. Only thing that makes sense. I would like to think so. I would like to think so. That's if he did do that, I would say, man, he's one of the most genius people in the NFL if that was to happen. But I don't think that is going. I don't think that that's what's happening though. Based off of his history, based off of what we know, off of what we've seen when he was in the same position in Detroit, he failed miserably. And there's no reason why I should think that he's not going to fail miserably doing this. Right now, obviously, it's going to look different because you have a generational talented quarterback. Justin Herbert is a top at this point right now. He's in the as far as quarterback, just talent and just raw talent. He's top 10. I don't think there's you can think of 8, 9 quarterbacks who have been better than him in the history of the NFL, just as far as talent goes and everything. Not just physical, but mental, being able to read defenses at his age. He's only 24. This is only his third season. A lot of quarterbacks don't even learn how to read defenses until later on in their maturation, maybe year 5, year 6, or whatever. He came into the league being able to read defenses. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of people don't understand. You look at his arm, you look at the throws that he makes. When he processes information extremely, extremely fast. when you watch him on tape and you see that's one of the things that I wanted to get to as well too. I seen Chase Daniel pointed out on his little segment that he does on NFL Network. Justin Herbert has a ridiculous, stupid understanding of this game. Like he is a savant. Like his when you see it on tape, and he's not going to talk about it. He doesn't. He's humble, right? He's not going to brag and all of that stuff. But this dude is he has a savant level understanding of the game. That's why I said he is Peyton Manning. He is a more athletic, bigger arm Peyton Manning to me. That's what he looks like. That's honestly what he looks like. Like let me get to it. Let me get to the last drive here, because the last drive to get us into field goal range, even after Joe Lombardi shit the bed all game long, the last drive was something else. And the first play too is something that everybody should see. I seen Chase Daniel break this down on NFL Network, and you can see it. And this is what you see, that Justin Herbert is different. He's different than Mahomes. He's different than Josh Allen. He's different than all these guys. And this right here is what makes him different, right? This play right here. Can everybody let's see. I paused it. Let me let's go back here. I want this to play clean. So it's the first play of the game winning drive, right? So obviously, you got to get into field goal range. It only took them 3 plays, but look here, right? This play to Mike Williams, you'll be able to see it better from the end zone view. So that starts it off, right? So when you look at him here, right, the ball is about to get snapped. You see him look here. Now you can't see it here on the screen, but Eckler was in the flat, right? The Titans were playing zone, right? So this guy here, this corner was here in the flat. Eckler was right here running this route. Herbert is so damn good, and he processes information so damn fast, right? His head movement got this corner to come up and get ready to tackle, right? Be able to make a play on Eckler if he threw it to him here, right? Because if he doesn't do that, if Herbert is just scanning the field this way, this corner is going to sink back and sink back and sink back, and this throw is not going to be here. He literally froze this dude. He froze this dude, so he was able to make this throw right here to Mike Williams, and this got the whole drive started, right? And you can't see it that well from that angle, so I'll show it from the sideline angle again. So now that everybody knows what I'm looking for, look at this. Look at this. So look at this guy here, right? Herbert is looking here. He's looking here. So this guy says, okay, if I come up, because we got to remember, 40 seconds left, whatever it was. Chargers have 0 timeouts. They use all their timeouts on the previous drive that the Titans had. Now, when you're looking here, you're looking at this guy. You're staring him down. He knows the whole damn time that he's going here. He knows the whole damn time. So he's saying, if I can get this guy to sink down, because you look at him, he's getting ready to fire, right? He's getting ready to fire. He's loaded up. That thing is getting ready to come out hot, right? 20 miles an hour or however fast he throws the ball. He's getting ready to throw that thing. Look at the corner. If this corner was comfortable that this ball was going to Mike Williams, he's going to sink. He's going to sink, and he's going to continue sinking. He's on, notice his foot right here. He's on the ball of his feet, right? This is what you do when you come forward. You're not on the ball of your feet when you go when you're retreating, right? You're not really on the ball of your feet. You're kind of on your heels. You're kind of in the back pedal, right? He's not there. So Herbert opens this window up. He opens it up just by using his eyes. This is elite level information processing. This is something Josh Allen doesn't do this. Patrick Mahomes doesn't do this. He doesn't do this. Now, the only other guy that I've seen do this is Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow does a lot of this, and he did a lot of it on their playoff run last year. But these, like as far as the young quarterbacks go, these are the only 2 guys. Herbert and Burrow are the only 2 guys that I see do this. They process information extremely, extremely well. Extremely well. And this is something that people do not understand. So when you're talking about all these people in here hanging on Joe Lombardi's nuts, you don't understand. This is Peyton Manning level shit right here. And you don't give who have been Peyton Manning's offensive coordinators, right? We don't give a shit about them because at the end of the day, they didn't matter, right? We know this now that he retired. We already know the stories. It doesn't matter, right? Tom Brady, his offensive coordinators, they don't matter. They don't matter because this guy here, number 10, is a fucking savant. He is a fucking savant. He has this arm talent and all of this stuff, but he's got it right here between the ears. And he understands this shit. And this is something that he doesn't really talk about because he's so humble. And I'm sure he doesn't want to come off as an asshole or whatever. But he does this better than anybody else. Any of the young quarterbacks, he does this far better than anybody else. This is information processing with elite, superior physical talent at the quarterback position. This is not something that a lot of people can do. To struggle in here because there's a lot of guys who would be in here, especially he got sacked 3 times, whatever. There's a lot of guys who would tap dance in here. Derek Carr is tap dancing. He's tap dancing and he's running out. He's going to throw the ball away. That's what Derek Carr is doing. That's a 10-year vet. This dude right here is an elite level processor. So when you're looking at what the Chargers do offensively, stats and all of this stuff, look no further than number 10. It's not Joe Lombardi. Look no further than this guy right here. Look no fucking further than this guy right here. I am convinced that he can call a game from start to finish. He can call a game from start to finish that the Chargers score 37, 38 points in. I am 100% convinced because he understands what defenses are trying to do to him. And not only that, but he's able to counter that. So he completely makes this throw here. He completely makes this throw. I know everybody wants to talk about the last throw that he made to Mike Williams, and that was one of the best throws I've ever seen him make, obviously. But this right here normally doesn't go with, even with Mahomes, right? Mahomes, his first year when he won MVP, 50 touchdowns, Mahomes wasn't doing this. Mahomes was hitting Tyreek Hill. He was throwing up prayers, and they came down with him. He wasn't doing this, though. He's not moving defense. This is what Herbert does. This is what he does. And if you have an offensive coordinator who can just make it just a tiny bit easier on him, what? Come on, man. Peyton Manning's quarterbacking record could be in trouble with that. It's ridiculous. That is elite. This is elite level processing. Look at him. He already knows. He's scanning. He knows what they're in. He knows exactly what's going to happen. Steps back, doesn't panic, makes a fantastic throw. It looks like he's throwing the ball to his brother. That's what it looked like. Because he's not worried about it. Because he knew exactly where he was going. Bam, bam, bam. Faking. Okay, Mike, there you go. It's so easy, man. It's so easy with this guy. People don't understand. Understand who you have at quarterback. This is not a Joe Lombardi thing. Joe Lombardi can disappear tomorrow. He can disappear, go to China for 10 years or whatever tomorrow. And this offense is still going to be good. Justin Herbert is still going to be good. You can't teach this shit. This is why this is generational stuff. This cannot be taught. This cannot be play called. This cannot be none of it. This is generational stuff. You have a generational quarterback. All right. And as much as I love Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers is my favorite. Phillip Rivers didn't have this mentally. Phillip Rivers did not have this mentally. You could trick Phillip Rivers into doing some stupid shit. And it was like that all the way, into his last games as a Charger when he was throwing interceptions and defense were tricking him. You can trick him into doing stuff like this. Herbert understands. He processes information. Like he really went to class at Oregon. He's really a smart guy. He really went to class. He was 4.3 guy, whatever, biology major. You can tell because he processes information extremely, extremely quick. Nobody, again, of the young quarterbacks, Joe Burrow is the only other guy that I've seen do that. I don't see Mahomes do this. I don't see Mahomes move guys with his eyes. I don't see him do that. He has a different skill set, right? He's more of a runner and get out of the pocket and be off script guy. This right here is not an off script play. Even though Herbert is fantastic outside of the pocket, what I just showed you, that's elite level shit. That's Peyton Manning shit. When you go back and you watch all of the games, Peyton Manning and all, that's what he was doing. That's elite level quarterbacking. It doesn't get much better than that. It really doesn't get much better than that. So anybody who is defending Lombardi and thinking, no, you can have anybody call plays. Anybody. You can have anybody in the organization call plays. Herbert's going to do that because that's what he does. He is elite level. Elite level. So please, I don't want to hear any of this shit about Lombardi, man. Y'all get out of here. Get out of here. Please, please with that. Oh, Tony's still here with his bullshit. Why didn't anyone credit the Wildcat Lombardi call for a first down? Eckler was quarterback. Herbert was right. That call was brilliant along with other plays. That's one play. That's one play, and it only went for a first down. Who cares? Who cares? A Wildcat? Who cares? Who cares? And not only that, he should have been calling that earlier in the season when all the injuries happened. The Chargers should have been running the ball, but they weren't running the ball. They're one of the worst teams in the league at running the ball. And I've just showed on here that the Chargers can do it. They're capable of doing it, but they don't because Joe Lombardi doesn't do it because he's not a good play caller and he's not a good offensive coordinator. That's why. So who cares about the Wildcat play? Nobody cares about the Wildcat. I don't. That didn't win a game. All they did was get a first down. Big deal. Big deal. Look at the pocket collapse on Herbert every play. The pocket's not collapsing every play. No, it's not. That's hyperbole and it's BS. I'm on here showing plays where Herbert is getting off good throws. They're just not good plays. That's hyperbole. It's not. There's much worse offensive lines in this league. Much worse. The play calling is just not good. It's not just the offensive line thing. That's a load of crap. It's a load of shit, man. That's a load of shit. It's not just doing there. It's not just the offensive line. It's absolutely not just the offensive line. That is bullshit. That's complete and utter bullshit. It's horseshit. This offensive line was worse last year. The offensive line was worse last year. There's a guy on the team last year. Michael Schofield is not on the team. Michael Schofield was the right guard last year. Storm Norton was the right tackle last year. That was the worst right side of any offensive line in the league. Both those guys haven't played. Storm Norton is still on the team. They won't let him touch the field, and Michael Schofield is sitting at home on his couch. So please, the offensive line has not played well, and it has not played well down the stretch. They need to be better in pass pro. But what do you expect when you throw the ball 40-something times a game? Herbert's going to get hit more. The sacks are going to be up because the Chargers don't run the ball. If they ran the ball more, the numbers would be down. They don't run the ball, though. That's one of the issues. So it's not just a offensive line thing. That is, you don't know football if you're just saying it's the offensive line because it's bullshit. Again, you can go through every bit of tape here and look at every single play. The pocket's not collapsing every single play. NFL Plus is $9.99 a month, my guy. Buy this shit. Watch it. If the pocket is collapsing every single play, I'll send you $100 right now. But it's not. This is hyperbole, and you want to blame somebody because what you think Joe Lombardi is good for whatever reason, and it's just not. This is not. And then not only that, but teams that don't have great offensive lines, they get helped out by the play calling. Play calling always helps out the offensive line if you know that your offensive line can't hold up. So what you don't do with the bad offensive line is call straight dropbacks. That's what you don't do. You roll the pocket, right? You roll the pocket, you play action the team to death, right? And you get the run game going. All those things help a bad offensive line. Are the Chargers doing any of those? No, they're not. So again, you do not know football if you're just blaming the offensive line. You don't know football. That is not an excuse. That's never been an excuse for any team. Oh, we have a bad offensive line, so we can't score points. So, let's just forget about it. Bullshit. Game plan, scheme around it. That's what you do. That's how you do that. And if your offensive line can't hold up, then they can't hold up. But you have to scheme around it. You have to be able to scheme around it. If you don't scheme around it, then you're going to struggle. And it's your offense's fault. You have to be able to scheme around this. The NFL is the greatest chess game in the world. Every single Sunday, it's the greatest chess game in the world. You go from adjustment to adjustment to adjustment to adjustment. If you're able to do that successfully, you're going to win a lot of games. But if you're not able to, if you come out and you do the same shit against every single team, no matter who they are, You're going to struggle. You're going to struggle. And if you have a quarterback like Herbert, obviously you're going to be able to keep your head above water, but it's not going to be pretty. It ain't going to be pretty. And this is what's been going on this season with the Chargers. It hasn't been pretty. Have they been winning? Yes. Are they 8-6? Yes. Am I glad that they're 8-6? Yes. Should they be a lot better? Hell yes. 100%. They should be 10-4 right now. There's no reason why they shouldn't be 10-4. Not a single solitary reason why they should not be 10-4. Not one. Not one. So I really don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear all the excuses. I don't want to hear all the excuses. It is what it is. This team is just not. They're underachieving. They're rounding a corner, I think, but offensively they're still being held back. And this is what the tape says. And the tape doesn't lie. Your opinions don't mean shit. All I do is watch tape. Get on my wife's iPad, watch tape. Watch tape, watch tape. I am showing you what I'm seeing. I'm not making this up. This is what I'm seeing. And former pros, former coaches, former quarterbacks, all of them agree. They all agree. They all agree with what I'm saying. All of them agree with what I'm saying. Your opinion is your opinion. This is your opinion, and it's based off of nothing. My opinion is based off of tape because I'm showing you. That's why I want to come on here and show this, because I don't just pull things out of my ass. I'm not just opinionated for no reason. Everything that I'm saying, I'm showing you on tape. I'm showing you this. You've seen bad plays on tape. This is what I'm seeing. This is facts. My opinions are based in facts, not in how I feel. You're emotional about Joe Lombardi for whatever reason. Don't know why. But nothing on tape says that this guy is good. Nothing. And anybody who has anything else to say about it, nothing on tape says that he's good. There's nothing. And the general consensus around, again, former players, former coaches, former people who've played this game and coached this game say that this isn't good, say that Justin Herbert is being held back. Again, who am I to believe? Emotional fans or professionals? And again, I am a fan, but my opinion is based in fact because I pull this up. I pull this up. The hell? So please, like y'all gotta you guys have to spare me with this BS. You really do. You really do. You're not making yourselves look good on here either because you're emotional. You're emotional about somebody who you don't know. That is the whole weird thing about this. You don't know Joe Lombardi. Maybe you like him. Maybe you like him for some reason. I don't know. If you do, great. I don't dislike him. I'm showing you what's on tape. You can't argue with this. These are facts here. This is fact. This is fact. These are facts. My opinions are based in fact. I watch this. I study the game. Unless you study the game and unless you watch this tape, you have no argument. You really don't. I'm sorry, you have no argument. You can come on here and feel however you want to feel. Facts don't care about your feelings. I've said this before. These are facts, man. These like come on. Nolan says the only time we could run last year was Slater. Yeah, now without him, nobody even cares about stopping our run game. Yeah, good old State would figure out how to run the ball with Corey Linsley. And I've said this before, and in one of my other live streams as well too. I said guard center guard is where the Chargers have the most success running the ball, but they don't do that. They don't do it. They don't do it. Joe Lombardi pulls out some of this stuff, this cute stuff, the end arounds with DeAndre Carter and all of this stuff. They don't do it. And when they came out last week against Miami in jumbo, they had a lot of success in jumbo. They ran for I think they only ran the ball 3 times in jumbo sets. Like jumbo sets, 22 personnel, right? 2 tight ends, 2 backs, a fullback and a running back. They ran the ball 3 times for 60 something yards. So they averaged 20 something yards a carry in jumbo, but they didn't go back to jumbo. It's all over the place. So things that work, you don't go back to, right? You don't go back to things that work. Instead, you go with things you know are not going to work. The end arounds, the cute stuff, the shit to DeAndre Carter, it doesn't work. Week in and week out, it doesn't work. There's always a bad play on tape. They go to it every single week. Shit that doesn't work, let's do more of, right? The shit that does work, okay, let's put it over here. We'll leave it alone. It's really not that hard. Once you get into a game and you're able to find something that works, do it. Do it until the team stops it. But I mean, it just it none of it makes sense. None of it makes sense. None of it makes sense. Well, I'll let you have your toxic cap party while we are 8-6 and fighting hard to make the playoffs. It's not a cap party. This is what it is. This is tape. I'm showing you tape. You have nothing. You have no arguments. Everything you're saying is based off opinion. These are straight facts that I'm showing you. I got the tape right here. Like, come on, man. I got the tape. This is straight facts. You're trying to argue against a brick wall. Like, these are facts. Your opinions don't mean shit when there are facts. These are facts. Tape does not lie. The tape doesn't lie. The tape doesn't lie. Who cares? Big deal, man. Your analysis is just not good. You tape is biased with your opinion. How is the tape this is NFL Plus, sir. How is this bias? How is the tape bias? How is the tape bias? This is the tape. I didn't record this shit. This is the tape. Come on, man. This is the tape. How is this biased? How is the tape biased? How do the play? All this shit happened on Sunday. How is it biased? How is it biased in my opinion? All this did the Chargers not score 17 points? What's biased about that? Well, I don't understand. I really don't. What's biased about what I'm saying? The Chargers should have scored more points against the Titans. They scored 17 points and they should not have scored more points. What is that? I don't understand. I really don't understand. You're saying that I'm biased, but is it not the truth? Should they have not scored more points? What? I don't get it. I really don't. I really don't get it. Friendly reminder that Lombardi called a fade to 5-8 Carter on 4th down. Right, against the Raiders. Yeah, 100%. Yep. That he called it end around to Nick Bosa and versus Foster Sarah. Yeah. Then waited for Pip to come back to try it again. Yeah. That's what he did. That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. Will Joey Bosa play this week? No, Bosa's not. He's not even at practice yet. So it's going to be a while. I don't think Bosa plays until the playoff game. Whenever that is, or if the Chargers, if they do end up clinching, whenever that is, I think that's when he'll play because we're getting down to the nitty gritty. Maybe he practices the final week, but at this point right now, I don't know, man. I don't think they want to rush him back because clearly he's not ready. I think if he was ready, he would have been practicing, but clearly they're not. There are other channels that show the flip side. We watch film as well. Come on, man. Most fans thought the Chargers copied the 49ers defensive plan, even this channel, and you were wrong. No, I didn't say they copied the 49ers defensive plan. I didn't say that they copied it. I said that they took things from it. They shut down the middle of the field, and I showed that on tape. They didn't copy that. But Tua was off against the 49ers. He was off. He was missing throws. He was missing throws against the 49ers. He just missed more throws against us, but it wasn't the 49ers plan because the 49ers didn't stop the middle of the field like the Chargers did. No, I wasn't wrong. It was pretty much the same basic thing that they did because the Niners, they came up and they pressed Tyreek Hill. Tua missed a lot over the middle of the field, and he missed a lot over the middle of the field. More against us, but he missed against them too. But he had a bigger game against them. So they did not do as much. But they did come up and they did press the receivers. The Chargers did that as well too. They just took the middle of the field away. That's all it is. That's really all it is. And Tua was awful. He was horrible against us. So it is what it is. And no, if you watch tape, you know that Joe Lombardi is not good. It is what it is. You don't watch tape if you think Joe Lombardi is good. You're a fucking liar if you think that. You're lying. You don't watch tape. And I can tell that you don't watch tape because you're upset about shit that I'm showing you that happened. I didn't create any of this stuff. If you get upset by what you watch on tape, you don't watch tape. You're not a tape watcher. You don't break down football. You don't study film. You don't. You read headlines and you think you know what you're talking about, but you don't. This is tape that I'm showing you. Tape, again, tape don't lie. I'm going to make a shirt. Tape don't lie. Tape don't lie, Tony. That's what I'm going to show you. This is not good tape. The Chargers did not score enough points against the Titans. This is on tape, and this really happened. Come on, man. Come on, dude. No, Tony's just bullshitting. Tony's just bullshit. How am I cherry picking? What other plays the Chargers scored 17 points? They scored 17 points. And I showed one touchdown. I already showed one touchdown. The field goal at the end, I don't. It was a game-winning field goal. There's nothing to break down. The Dicker just made it. So, what I only have one more touchdown to show, and that was in the fourth quarter, early fourth quarter, right? Another run touchdown. But I mean, it is what it is what they should have scored more points. I'm not cherry picking anything. I'm showing the plays that they didn't do anything on because they need to fix it. It is what it is. I showed a lot of defensive stuff because I think the defense is coming around. The defense played really well. They played way better than the offense did, except for the late game drive. They played well. Defense played well. They're turning the corner. Offense is still stagnant. Still stagnant. So, hey, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Do you think the Chargers will start Jamari over Fire once Slater comes back, assuming we make the playoffs? I think Jamari is too talented as a rookie to just sit on the bench. What do you think? I think so. I hope so. I honestly hope so because, and I went through this. That was one of the first plays that I went through. Filer. I don't know what happened. I really don't know what happened to him over the summer, but man, he came back not ready. He came back. He's been really bad. Like a lot of the blocks that he was finishing last year, he's given up on. And I don't know, like there's a possibility that he could be hurt. I don't know if he was on any. I can't remember him being on any injury reports this year. He possibly was, maybe, but maybe he's dealing with the injury and he's not injured enough to like sit out or anything. But I don't know. Like he's just not been good. I I think you have to. I think you have. Well, I don't know. I think it just depends on how the season like ends. But you're gonna have to get Sawyer in there to at least try him out. You got to at least try him out, especially in the playoffs. If you want to win, again, you're gonna have to run the ball. I think Sawyer's gonna be better, especially from the run perspective, and him playing left tackle all season long too. Like I think he's going to be in the mode of pass protection, right? When you put him in, I think you can plug him in at left guard, and he's going to be able to pass protect automatically better than Filer is. Run blocking, though, I think is a little different from that position. Now, if he's able to, if he's able to get around quickly on some of the pulling plays, right, where he's pulling, I think he'll be fine. I think that's the only issue that I see. Like his feet are a little slow, and he played left tackle at Georgia last year. So I don't know. I don't know how comfortable he is at that position because he's gonna have to get he's gonna have to get his ass lower to the ground. So I don't know if that's gonna be a issue, but pass blocking, he's already better. And I think the play that I showed earlier, he really the play that I showed earlier, he really Filer was really struggling. And I don't know, like on tape, it looks like it's an effort thing, but again, it could be an injury thing. I don't know. It doesn't look great. It doesn't look great for Filer, especially if you're going to go up against if you have to play a Buffalo, if you have to play a Kansas City with Chris Jones. Like Chris Jones gave him a hard time both games this season. I don't know, man. It's going to be difficult. It really is going to be difficult with Filer in there if he continues to play at this level. I hope that he is able to get it together. Or if he's injured, I don't know, maybe he's able to heal up or whatever. But yeah, it doesn't. He's struggling. He's definitely struggling. The play that I showed earlier was, it was far earlier in the live stream. He was got pretty much just got. I mean, it wasn't even really stood up. He just pretty much let Jeffrey Simmons just do the old Olay and go by him. Like there wasn't really much effort on his part, and he kind of just stood around there. So that's all. I don't know. Maybe it's the injury thing, because he didn't look this way last year. So I don't know. It's. I think that's going to be a slippery slope. They're going to have to evaluate that from week to week, though, because he's really not living up to his billing, and he's played good football in the past. He played good football with the Steelers, but yeah, no, he's not looking very good right now. But again, there's still some time left, but I don't know. I'm curious to see. I'm a little more open to that possibility as the weeks go by. I want to see Sawyer in there. Hopefully, one of these games they're able to either get a blowout, which is unlikely, or they clinch, right? And then they're able to maybe move Sawyer in, right? Bring Foster Sarrell in, put a Easton Stick or Chase Daniel in the game, right? To get hit, but hopefully they're able to move him in and like do an in-game evaluation, maybe fourth quarter, maybe just a quarter or something. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I think that move is going to be made. It's going to have to be made in the offseason because Matt Filer makes way too much money to be playing at this poor of a level. He's just not worth what he's making right now. I think it's like 6.5 million or something like that. But he's not. Yeah, if he continues this, if he finishes the year bad and this whole entire season is bad, he has a bad playoff game, he's going to get cut in the offseason. And the Chargers will slide Sawyer in there. They'll probably draft some more linemen like later on in the draft. But yeah, no, he's not playing well, and it's been a bit of a surprise too, unpleasant surprise this year. I expected him to be good. I expected the whole offensive line to be solidified. I thought they were going to run the ball more, but um, he hasn't been good, and his bad play has contributed to a lot of bad offensive play too. Honestly, if Lombardi sucks, it isn't that added into the analytics. Like honestly, maybe they trust Staley's ability to call defense more than Joe Lombardi's offensive play calling. That may add to the reasons. That may add to the reasons the plays are called less risky this year. I don't know. I mean, no. Honestly, it's up to Staley. It's Staley's. He's the one that's in charge, right? So he is a guy. He knows Joe Lombardi. They went to college together or something. They have like some type of connection from a long time ago. And then they both Staley got started with this, or I think he was like a coaching intern with the Saints that Super Bowl year that they won. It was like what was it, 09, I think. So they go way back. So they know each other, but I don't know. I think I think Lombardi being around. And honestly, I think the whole like because I seen it last year and I called it last year, and you can go back into the archives of my videos. In the summertime, I said Joe Lombardi will be an in-house roadblock to the Super Bowl. It's in my videos. You can go and watch it. And I gave the reasons why. And I thought that he would be a roadblock. I thought I seen it last year. Again, if you're not able to score against top 10 defenses, you're not truly a top offense, right? You're a top offense in stats, right? In name only, but you are not a true, real top offense, right? If you don't put the fear of God in other defenses, you're just not a top offense, right? You're not. You're not who you think you are. But that being said, right, I seen it last year. So, but even though I seen it last year, and I was like, man, this is not going to. I thought the Chargers were talented, but when I was looking at watching some of the games, and I'm looking at some of the play calling, I'm like, damn, this is some of this. Most of it doesn't make sense, right? It wasn't as bad as it is last year, but I mean, it wasn't as bad as it was this year. But I didn't like what I seen. But I thought, okay, Lombardi coming back again. I was for it because I didn't think that Justin Herbert going from offense to offense to offense, right? Because when he came into the league, he came in under Anthony Lynn, who was the offensive coordinator. Was it Steichen? Steichen was the offensive coordinator, so he had to come in and learn that offense, right? Then those guys get fired. Then he has to come in and learn Joe Lombardi's offense, right? But if Lombardi got let go last year, then he would have to learn somebody else's offense. This is so 3 years in a row learning a new offense. It's bad. It's not great for a quarterback, right? And if anybody can handle it, it's Herbert. But still, I wanted him to be like more comfortable in offense, right? Not having to worry about learning a new offense, right? Just maybe just learning the more like nuanced stuff of an offense, right? The just the little things you study in the offseason, right? Not learning the full entire playbook. So I thought that that would be good for Herbert. Now, turns out it hasn't been great. This would have been a better team if this offensive scheme was different. If this scheme was different, if we had a somebody off the Kyle Shanahan tree, right? Somebody off the Sean McVay tree, this offense would be a lot better, right? It would be a lot better, especially in situations where you have to convert, right? You would have to have those third and have to have it plays, right? You would be much better in those plays, right? And you wouldn't be running stick routes. And that's ultimately what Joe Lombardi knows is the stick routes, is the individual route concepts, all of that shit, right? He knows that, he learned it, and that's what he is. That's who he is as a play caller. That's who he is as a offensive coordinator. Now, going into next season, I think you have to switch offensive coordinators. You absolutely have to, because you you cannot go into next season with more tape on you can't go into next season with more tape on this offense, right? Because now everybody knows what some teams knew how to stop us last year, right? But again, that was the first year in the Lombardi offense. Teams for sure know how to stop the Chargers. They know for sure how to stop the Chargers. So going into next year with Joe Lombardi still as the offensive coordinator, it early in the season, if that happens, I predict now that early in the season, Joe Lombardi will be fired. Probably after the first 4 games, I would say. I would say, to me, because now everybody knows what to expect. You know that you're not going to get hit over the head deep. You're not going to get beat deep. And even if you do get beat deep, as long as it's not at the end of the game, like the Titans game, it's probably not going to. You're going to be fine, right? You're still going to be fine. They're not going to run the ball any better, and they're not going to. They don't have the personnel to really attack you, like over the or even over the middle of the field, not just deep, but over the middle of the field. They just don't do enough of that, right? It's all individual routes. It's all stuff that is, based off of the wide receivers winning their matchups every single play. And that's hard to do. It's extremely hard to do. Very, very, very hard to do. Um, this is again, this is a offense that has underachieved vastly, greatly underachieved. So you got to go into next year with a better offense, right? Obviously, a new offensive coordinator, but you can't. It can't just be anybody, right? You have to. There's things that the Chargers have to do. They have to scheme receivers open better, and they have to run the ball better. Those are the two big things that you can see on film. They don't do that, and it's up to Herbert every single week to win games. It's up to him, right? And yes, he's a star quarterback, but you want to help him out as much as possible. You want to give him as much support as possible. A great run game will give him a lot of support. It will get him hit less, right? He's going to throw the ball less. There's going to be less of opportunity for the offensive line to blow an assignment and get him blown up, right? With the rib injury and all this. It's going to be less of that, less of a chance for that. So you got to get him a good running game, but then you also have to scheme receivers open. You can't just rely on Keenan Allen's greatness to get open. You can't just rely on Mike Williams. You have to make it easier for them. You got to run more man beaters, right? When teams play the Chargers in man, you got to run more man beaters. You got to cross the field more, right? The tight end has to be a more of a focal point in the middle of the field. You got to attack linebackers. That's just something that you have to do. You got to attack linebackers, because if you're running a offense that is putting pressure on the defense, you don't have to worry about the safeties being so far up. The safeties are going to be back, right? They're going to be back. They're going to be back watching the field, playing center field, right? So at that point, you got to go in the middle. You have to have a strong game plan to attack the middle of the field, right? And again, it's got to be somebody, I think, from the Shanahan style of offense, because that's something that they do very, very well, right? They have a good tight end in George Kittle. He's a good blocking tight end, but they attack the middle of the field. And I think that's something that they do well with him, Debo Samuel. And their team, the Niners don't have a lot of team speed as well, too. I see a lot of people like, oh, the Chargers we need like a super speed guy. Like, and yes, that would be nice to have, but it's not like super necessary. If you have a good scheme, you can get guys open. You can always get guys open. Guys will be running open, right? And the speed is not too much of it's not too much of a factor when guys are running down the field open, right? You can be the fastest guy in the world, you can be the slowest person in the world. If you're open, you're open. So I think that's what the Chargers have to focus on. And yes, you do want to get speed, but it's I don't know. I don't know. I just don't think it's all that necessary. I think a good scheme, is much more important than it is a good scheme is much more important than it is a speed receiver or just throwing deep down the field. Good scheme is always going to always going to help you, and people are always going to be open. How do you think K9 is doing? He's playing better. He's playing a lot better. I think it's because of Fahoko up front. They're eating up a lot of blocks, and they are able to get downfield and not downfield, but get downhill and clean up stuff in the run game. So he's doing a damn good job. Let's see. Will J.C. Jackson make a full recovery and play up till he's being paid? I hope so. We can only hope so. We're stuck with him for right now, though. And I know you guys seen the other day he got arrested too. They said for some family issue or something like that. I don't know what it was described. There wasn't a lot of detail, but even with that too, like we're stuck with him even more. Like he's untradeable. He has a very tough injury to come back from, and he got arrested. He might have some legal issues, over the offseason. So that we are stuck with him. Like that was if he doesn't come back and he doesn't play, up to the level that we know that he can play before the injury, that will be one of the worst free agent signings ever. And it sucks. I like him. I loved him as a player, but I mean things have just went downhill. Like he's been going through it, and that arrest the other day too makes things even worse for him. So I hope that he can, because if not, we're going to be stuck with him for at least 2 more years, because getting out of his contract is going to be tough. It's going to be really, really tough. Staley's been doing good recently, but if he stands by Lombardi, he can go to get Vic Fangio. Right. And that's the thing. He's going to be Staley is starting to turn his reputation around with a lot of fans, but the Lombardi thing is still a albatross around his neck. And until the Chargers let him go, until the Chargers move on and get a new offensive coordinator, yeah, he's still gonna have a negative perception in a lot of fans' eyes. But I think I think he just you can't you got to move on. Honestly, I honestly think he's got to move on at this point. I think it's going to happen this offseason. I really do. I feel it. I have no I have nothing to present as evidence, but I just feel it. I just feel the talk, the chatter is there. It's just too much. And then depending on how the season ends as well too is going to make a big difference. So I think he's done. I honestly think he's done. Tony Reyes is an old head for real, for real. Yeah, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't know what he's talking about at all. Talking about he watches tape. Like, come on, man. Let's see. Can you do a breakdown on where JC Jackson excels and how the Chargers can use him? Actually, yeah. I think well, I'll do a video depending on how the I'll hold off on it now. It's a good idea, but I want to see where all this legal stuff goes, because like I don't know, depending on what happened, depending on what he did, like if it's bad enough, like if the situation that he got arrested for is bad enough, the Chargers could potentially get out of the contract. Like there's voids in the contract if you violate the personal conduct policy and all that stuff. So I'll hold off on it for now, just to see if there's more that comes from it. But that's something I can definitely get into like a little later. But as of right now, I'll hold off on it for now. But I do think the way the Chargers are playing now, if JC Jackson was healthy, I think he would excel, because he would be playing that Michael Davis role where he's man to man all game long, right? And you're playing minimal amount of zone. That's where JC Jackson is his best, at man to man, tracking the ball, being able to be a ball hawk, and you know, knock away passes. He intercepts a lot of passes as well too. He takes a lot of chances too. But I think the way that they're playing now with man to man, because Michael Davis has been playing man to man these past couple games, and he's been really, really good. So I think he would be really, really good the way the Chargers are playing right now. Um, Hey, bro, I went and checked, and against top 15 defenses last year, Chargers scored 13, 34, 24, and 17. Averaged 22 and went 2-2. Damn, and that's against top 15 defenses too. So that don't even top 10 and top 5. Not good numbers, right? Not good. If you take out the 34, that's only 13, 24, and 17. That's not great numbers. So yeah, and that's what I seen last year. Anytime there was a good team, I knew that we were gonna probably weren't gonna score a lot of points, right? Even against a good defense. But in today's NFL, modern NFL, good offense trumps good defense by 10 times. So if you have a good juggernaut offense, you're always going to be able to have the upper hand on the defense just because the way the rules are, and it's entertainment. That's the way the rules are. The game is set out that way. The NFL wants it that way. So if you have a good offense, you're always going to be able to get the upper hand on a good defense. But the key is just having a good offense. So JC's upside is crazy though. It is. It is. He has a good upside, but he's going through some stuff right now. Isaiah, you sound like you don't like this person. I don't like what person. I don't know who you're talking about. If you're talking about Joe Lombardi, I don't know Joe Lombardi. I don't like the way he plays. I mean, I don't like the way he calls plays. Like he sucks. So why would I like him? Um, I don't know him personally. This is not a personal attack. If I was attacking him personally, I would be like, yo, fuck his mom and all of that. I'm talking about what he does on the field. I'm going off of his history, what I seen from him. This ain't good stuff. Why should why should I like it if it's not good, you know? Do you think the Chargers should seek a younger quarterback in the draft, considering the severity of the JC injury? Yeah, I read about 50% of players with that injury don't return at all. Seems like a liability. Yes, I think so. I think so. I think you do. Um, I think you do. I think you have to. The last player that I know, like the last notable player, I think, with that injury that he has was, I'm pretty sure it was it Jimmy? I think it was Jimmy Graham had that same injury, if I'm not mistaken. And that was when he played for the Seahawks. He was a shell of himself afterwards. A shell. He was a shit. Like he was not the same at all. So yeah, it is. I think they are going to have to go with the young cornerback. Now, it depends on what it depends on what round would they use a second rounder on the cornerback? Possibly. I could see that. I could see them going second round on the cornerback, a second round cornerback, second or third round cornerback. I could see that. Um, I don't think they use a first round pick on a cornerback though. If they do, that will tell us a lot about what they feel about J.C. Jackson and his injury and his like progress from it. Again, he still has a legal issue as well too. So we'll see how that plays out. I do think you should go for a young corner though, because even if you don't even if you don't draft a superstar, right? If you draft a guy who is good or, showing signs of getting better, by the time by the time that guy, even if it's a second or third round pick, right, four-year contract, by the time that guy's ready to resign, JC Jackson's money will be gone. So I think it is a smart thing to do. Staley also last year said that they're always going to look at cornerbacks in the draft every single year. That's one of the positions that he likes to look at. That's one of them, the ones that he likes to scout. So I think that they probably will, and they probably should. They probably should. The JC Jackson thing could be, it could be a long drawn out thing, not only with his injury but his legal stuff. And again, hopefully it's not bad. Hopefully he didn't hit any women or anything like that, because at that point, again, his contract could be voided. And man, I mean, that would be a like a big fall from grace from, you know, one summer signing a big free agent contract, and the next you get injured, you have a career threatening injury, and then you get arrested, and then your contract gets like that. That would be a very, very big fall from grace. I hope none of that happened though. um Not just for his sake, but for whoever else is involved in that. But yeah, they should go with a backup plan at this point right now, because too much has happened for them to stay pat and say, oh, we're gonna wait for, maybe we'll wait around. I think you have to go with the cornerback. You got to go with the young cornerback. um especially if you're not going to re-sign Michael Davis. He's got 1 year left. So yeah, it would be the smart thing to do. And the other players that do return most do not play to the same level before, and he was already struggling severely even when healthy. Yeah, maybe trade him for draft capital. Yeah, he's not gonna his trade value is nothing now. He has like no trade value at all. That injury really like sunk whatever trade value that he did have. Now the legal issue that you can't, for as much money as he makes too, it would be hard finding a trade partner for him. Um, I think the only way that could work is that the Chargers would have to cover some salary if they traded him. They would have to cover they would have to cover at least a year's worth of salary, right? Because he got this year, I think it was a 5 year contract that's out after 3 years. So he got through this year. If the Chargers traded him like around draft time, they would have to cover probably all of next year's salary, and then whoever the team that traded for him, they would probably take a chance on him like in that third year. I could see that, right? And this is if all of his legal issues go away too. But I could see that happening possibly, but I don't think the Chargers are going to be able to get out of that without covering some salary. So whatever team that's trading for him is going to need some type of insurance just in case things don't go well. But yeah, it's been a very tumultuous year for him, man. I hope he can get it together. I really do. I just want to see the 6'4" Mike Williams run one crossing route. Right, right. With somebody running up under him to rub him open as well too. Because especially if Mike is running the crossing route and he gets the ball in stride, he can outrun people. He did it last year. I was at the game. He was outrunning the Browns defenders last year. He is like once he gets the ball, he's not like a 40 guy. Like he's not the 4-3 40 guy. But once he gets going and he has the ball in his hands, he's probably in pads on the field. He's probably running 4-3, probably easy. Because I seen it in person and he looked a hell of a lot faster in person than he did on TV. So I I like Mike, but they don't having him run stick routes again. It's not doing anything, right? He is the guy. Now I'm not comparing him to Calvin Johnson, but he most resembles Calvin Johnson, with the Lions, and they had Mike just this past week. He was running stick routes against a smaller corner who he could have like really took advantage of. So that's 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 a Lombardi offense. It really is. It really is. I swear, one time per game, Mike is just screaming open over the middle, and it's never called again. It happens. It happens more than once, actually. I would say. Um, even when he came back, like his first game back, he was open a bunch, and they just don't go to him. I don't know why. I really don't know why. And he's always seems to be one on one down the field. Nobody ever double covers Mike Williams. Um, and I mean, I guess you can call them dumb for not doing it, but are they really dumb because they never throw the ball? So if he never gets the ball, why do you have to double cover him? So it, it is what it is. Yeah, it was Jimmy Graham with that injury, huh? Yeah, because the surgery is called the microfracture surgery, I believe. It sounds painful. That oh man, it's just bad. It's just so damn bad. I hope JC Jackson is able to return to at least 85% of what he was. I hope so. I really hope so. I hope um medical science has come that far to have that happen. But as of right now, man, it looks bleak for him. What position do you want to see drafted in the first round? I think either edge rush or I don't know if you go wide receiver right now. I just don't. I don't think you could go wide receiver with Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, and Josh Palmer. I don't think you can go a wide receiver in the first round. I just don't. I think that is if you're going to draft one, that's a later round pick. That's like a fourth or fifth. But I think you need a good edge rusher right now because Kyle Van Noy is going to be a free agent. He's on a 1 year deal. Khalil Mack is getting up there in age now, and Joey Bosa he's not up there in age, but his injuries are starting to pile up. I think you need to go with a solid pass rusher, the best one you can probably get. I don't think you have to trade up, but probably a pass rusher. Um, probably a pass rusher, and I possibly maybe defensive line, but I don't know. There's gonna be a lot of holes that the Chargers need to fill. Tight end is also a possibility as well too. The Chargers need a good, reliable tight end. Um, I like the guys who they have now, but their hands are just not consistent enough. They drop too many passes. Between Everett, between McKitty and uh, Parham, they drop way too many passes. They drop way too many open passes too. So I think they have to solidify the tight end position. Somebody, an actual number one tight end, somebody who you know is going to be the number one tight end. Um, they gotta get that right because as of right now, it's okay, but I think it could be better. Um, they used to do that in the beginning of last year. Mike had multiple hundred or 100 plus games. Yeah, Lombardi decided he didn't like winning though. Right? Yeah, I still want Sean Payton if Staley don't get us to the AFC Championship at least. That was the expectation preseason. The AFC Championship game. Ooh man, yeah. I mean, there's a chance they can go on a run, but I don't know, man. I think it's just unlikely with the way the Chargers play offense. It's just unlikely. Even when you see last year with the Bills, right? The Bills were a long shot. I mean, not the Bills, the Bengals. They were a long shot to get to the Super Bowl. But when you look back at the season, right? When you look back, just overview, it wasn't that crazy. Like we all shouldn't have been that surprised. I think the only surprise came from the quarterback position, right? Joe Burrow was only in his second year, and I think that kind of surprised everybody. But when you look back at everything else, right, their offensive line was not good all season long, but they persevered and they played a lot better in the playoffs. They gave up what 8 or 9 sacks to the Titans in that playoff game and still ended up winning it. That was crazy. Nobody expected that, but as they went on, though, as they went on to face Kansas City, they offensive line played better. But when you're looking at the receiver core, they had three. They have the best receiver core in the league. T. Higgins, Boyd, and then obviously Jamar Chase. And then even their running back position is good too. They're solidified. They got two legitimate running backs. They have weapons. Like they have legitimate weapons. Like they play offense very well. And they're not like the run and gun like Chiefs or whatever, but they play offense with like they're so balanced. And I think even with a weak offensive line that they had last year, their defense was like okay, they were like middle of the pack. They were able to make it to the Super Bowl playing balanced offense. Like they were balanced. Joe Mixon and Samaje Perine in the backfield. Um, Obviously the three wide receivers, and they had Uzama at tight end. Like like they were so balanced. That really well. If you go back and watch some of those games, like it's so it's so crazy. Like thinking like damn, like they should have been in a Super Bowl. They were so balanced offensively. Like they were probably the most balanced team offensively in the AFC in the entire playoff picture last year, because the Bills, Josh Allen dependent, Chiefs, obviously Mahomes dependent. Like those were the two like quote unquote best teams last year. But when you were looking at the Bengals, they were able to do whatever. Like they were able to adjust and play whatever style. If a team was going to play them extremely like conservative, right, and not let them get any big plays, they can run the ball. Mixon and P. Ryan, they can run the ball. They can get 4 to 5 yards of carry, and they were able to do that in the playoffs. And I think, like, just looking back at it, we probably shouldn't have been as surprised as we were. I was really surprised, but they balance. Like, balance is the name of the game, and that's what I want the Chargers to be. If the Chargers are able to be balanced, they can win. If the Chargers were balanced now, if the Chargers had a balanced offense right now, they would they could legitimately be Super Bowl contenders if they were able to run the ball and throw the ball like just as well as they are. Be able to run the ball, they would legitimately be Super Bowl contenders. But they're not able to do that though. They're just not able to do that. They are too Justin Herbert dependent, and you see what happened to quarterback dependent teams last year. Like it's make or break, right? It's no other facet of the game really makes a difference. It's all quarterback, and it's make or break, right? It's make or break. Your defense can do as much as they can, but your quarterback has to win games, right? The quarterback has up to him to win games. And with the Bengals, even though Burrow was good, right? He was good, but they were able to play complementary football. They were able to run the ball. They were able to hand that shit off to P. Ryan and mix it and get yards and get first downs, screen passes, and all of that type of stuff. They were able to do all of that type of stuff. So I think balance is the name of the game. If you can't be balanced, then I don't think you really have a legitimate shot to win or to really do anything like in the playoffs. I don't think you have like a great chance to do that. So I'm looking at the Chargers to be balanced. Hopefully that happens next year. I think it's too late in the season for them to be balanced this year. I don't think that they can. They just haven't done it enough this year to be balanced. But I'm looking for that to happen. I hope that would be um, something that the Chargers do going forward, because being balanced makes the difference. And if you're able to be balanced, you're going to be able to win a lot of ball games, and you're going to be able to have a chance. At the end, it doesn't matter who you play. A balanced offense almost always beats a run dependent offense. You see a team like Tennessee, they're too run dependent. You see a team like Buffalo, they're too quarterback dependent. You got to be somewhere in the middle. That's the balance. The balance that you have to have. If you're able to have that, you're going to be a good team. But um, yeah. Let's see. Damn, I got a lot of let's see, edge rusher. Oh, you're talking about draft. Edge rusher, linebacker, online backup, cornerback. Um, Linebacker, yeah. Edge rusher, linebacker. Uh, I would switch 2 and 3 around. I would say edge rusher definitely first, and then backup offensive line, and then linebacker. Because I think the offensive line injuries this year, they got to scare you into preparing for that to happen in the future. They you can't just go out there and say, "Oh, our offensive line's gonna stay offensive line's gonna stay healthy." I just don't think so. I don't think so. Let's see your thoughts of Chargers making the playoffs. If we win, there's a chance they can clinch on this weekend, but they got to keep winning. That's what they have to worry about. They just have to worry about winning. Everything else will work itself out. If they're able to continue winning, then it'll work itself out. They'll get into the playoffs. The seeding, all of that stuff will just be the only thing to sort out. But they got to continue to win. Continue to win. That's all I should think about. Optimus Rhyme says doing something until the defense stops it is not the Lombardi way. Yeah, late in the Super Bowl, Stafford went at cup like a diabetic with insulin, and Cincinnati didn't do a damn thing to stop it. Right. That's 100%. That's 100% the thing. 100% the key. They have to. You have to go. It's simple. Like, it's so simple. I just don't. It's the whole saying: if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Right? Don't don't try to make things harder than what it really is. Um, yeah, and that's something that Lombardi doesn't do. Again, last week I noticed the Chargers had success when they ran in the power formation and jumbo, 22 personnel, 2 tight ends, 2 backs. They did it 3 times. I think they ran for like 60 yards, and I think Josh Kelly ripped off like that 35 or 40-yard run or whatever. They didn't do it. They threw the ball 50 times or whatever it was, like, for no reason too. If you're going to be able to run in jumbo, why not come out and run in jumbo? Like, it doesn't make sense. But that we know what this is. We know what it is. We need a wide receiver. You just talked about the Bengals having weapons. The Chargers have weapons. They just don't use them correctly. Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, and Josh Palmer. Like, the only thing missing there is obviously the speed element, right? But when you're talking about guys who can get open, if you have the right type of offense and the right type of scheme, all those guys can have 1,000-yard seasons. All of them can have 1,000-yard seasons, because even with Cincinnati, T. Higgins is not a speed guy. Boyd is his speed is okay. Jamar Chase is really the only guy who can, like, well, I mean, I guess Boyd can too, but Jamar Chase has like game breaking speed though. He can take something like 85 yards. Like, he has game breaking speed. You obviously cannot replicate that. But I think the Chargers have enough weapons to be good. When you look at the Bills don't have a speedy receiver. Gabe Davis, Diggs, who else do they have at Everest? I know they signed Cole Beasley again recently, but they don't have like a 4-3 guy out there. Like, they just run a vertical offense. They just get the ball to their guys down the field. Um, they don't have like a game breaking speed guy. They don't have a guy that can take it 80 yards. I don't think they have that, but they throw the ball downfield. And I think that's the difference. They put pressure on defenses going downfield, and you don't necessarily need the fastest guy to do that. All you need to do is have a scheme where you can get the ball to guys downfield, have protection be good enough, right? And then just be able to run it in spots where you need to run it in, right? Don't just be quarterback dependent. If they can do that, they can do that. If the Bills can do it, the Chargers definitely can. Definitely can. Because overall, the Chargers have a better wide receiver core than the Bills. Overall, just overall, I think the wide receiver core is not even, it's not even close. Not even close. Gabe Davis or Mike Williams. Give me Mike Williams all day long. I'll take Mike Williams all day long. But with the way the Bills play, you think that they're faster than what they are, and they're not. They're just not that fast. Josh Allen is a dynamic quarterback, but as far as team like speed goes, they don't have like a super speed shifty guy. Like they got some guys who can work in space. Oh, is it number 6, McKenzie, Isaiah McKenzie. He's more of like a space guy. I don't think he's like a speed demon either. But I mean, it just depends on how you play. And honestly, that's the one thing that like watching tape over the past year and a half, whatever, has shown me. It's how you play. It's how you use your weapons that you have. Not necessarily if you have the fastest or whatever, but if you use your weapons in the correct manner, um, you can do anything. So yeah, it's not just about the speed. It's how you use what you got. Let's see if we make the playoffs. We need edge. We need 2 edges, first and second. Nah, we're not gonna not in the first and second round. Not with the same position. If we make the playoffs, what team would fare better against actually advance to the divisional round? Probably. I don't know. I want to say Cincinnati, but the way that they have been playing is damn. They put a lot of pressure on you. Got to score a lot of points to keep up with Cincinnati. I don't think the Chargers are going to be able to score enough points to keep up with them. Whatever team we play, I don't know. I think if Baltimore was able to creep back and win the division, I would say Baltimore. I want to play Baltimore because they don't score enough. But yeah, if Baltimore we could, but we don't have the offensive firepower to keep up with the Bengals on the road. We don't have the offensive firepower to keep up with KC either. Because if they put a couple of touchdowns together, it's I don't know. It's just can the Chargers? That's what it's going to boil down to in the playoffs. Can the Chargers keep up? If those teams come out and let's say they score in their first 2 possessions and they go up 14 points, can we keep up offensively? I don't think so. To me, I don't think so. Let's see. Guyton was our speed guy. Bummer we lost him early. Yeah, he was. He was, and they didn't use him properly last year. He was our speed guy, and Guyton was running stick routes, and he was running a lot of stick routes, and I don't know why. When you have a guy that's 4'3" can get down the field, who can have a lot of big plays, he was running a lot of. They didn't use him correctly, but yeah, no, he was our speed guy. But again, play calling is the thing. That's what it boils down to. Honestly, that's what it boils down to. I don't think anybody else. Um, I don't think anybody else can do less with what we have here. We have a great team, and I don't think there's any coordinators right now who can do any less than Joe Lombardi's doing. We're not getting a lot out of these guys, but um, it is what it is. Right? This is the team that we have. I'm hoping for the best, but I'm prepared for anything. So I've been on here for almost 3 hours. I was not planning on being on here this long, but I got some knuckleheads in the chat who want to swing off Joe Lombardi's nuts. So we had to go ahead and put it to them. But I am going to go ahead and sign off now. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Really appreciate it. I'll be back tomorrow with more content. I got a video coming out about what the Chargers need to learn from last year, and it's going to be an interesting one because the Chargers are in a similar position that they were last year, and it's when the shitting of the bed started, right? And that's how the Chargers didn't end up making the playoffs. But got that video coming out, so I'm gonna get to that. But really appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for joining me, and I'll be back on Monday night. Monday night, I'm doing the live stream after Monday Night Football, so that's when you'll be seeing me live again. But thank you guys so much for joining me. Appreciate all of the comments on the super chats. Christian says, "Peace, more film breakdown, please." Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we're doing this again next week after the Colts game. No matter what happens. So yeah, we're definitely gonna get to it because this needs to be shown. People need to see what's going on, right? You need to craft your own narratives around what you see. I feel a certain way. You don't necessarily have to feel a certain way, but um, tape doesn't lie. And when you see bad things on tape, it's bad for everybody. It's not just I don't just see it bad. Everybody should see it the same way. So this is not up for NFL football is not up for interpretation. This is a win-loss league. This is a good or bad league, and you either do things good or you do things bad. And things are not up for interpretation. It's not art. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I got to say on that. But until next time, thank you guys so much for joining me. I will be here on Monday night, and have a good night.